Well, our Dean of the faculty is busy with some official work. I will request the convener of this day, Professor Abdul Hai. Professor Abdul Hai, may you please unmute yourself and formally just give us a kick to this meeting. Professor Abdul Hai. Are you there, Professor Abdul Hai? May unmute yourself, please. Probably not audible. Professor Mujib Fazli, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, walaikum salam. You are there. Probably I am not reachable to Abdul Hai and this Professor Tufail. You are one of the important collaborators of this webinar of this day, Milk Day. So I think you are the best person to just kickstart this meeting, please.
Thank you, Professor Pampuri. Assalamu alaikum and Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm really happy that our Extension Outreach Center of the Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, since it was established perhaps 1 year ago, they have conducted many very good programs for the whole year. And then I am thankful to them that they have willingly asked us to collaborate with them for this program, for which they have taken lead and they are doing a wonderful job. I'm thankful to them. And on behalf of the Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, on behalf of the Extension Outreach Center, on behalf of Mountain Livestock Research Institute, Manasbal, I welcome our respected speakers who have already joined us, and also all the around more than 50 participants to this virtual program of World Milk Day that's being celebrated today in Faculty of Veterinary Sciences on the 1st of June, 2021. So on this, as most of us already know, that World Milk Day has been started in 2001 by FAO, and the objective of celebrating this World Milk Day has been to give significance or to highlight the importance of milk as a global food, and to celebrate the dairy sector. Overall dairy sector has to be kept in mind. Of course, the cow is the central point that produces the milk, and whole dairy sector needs the deliberations during these celebrations. Now, we know that we have, the world has around 7.8 billion people, and we are lucky that we are in an area where we have daily milk availability better. From J&K point of view, we have better than our national average, and India has better than overall world average. That means everybody among us is getting milk, lesser or more volume. But this milk is available not to 1.8 billion people around the world. So we'll just think if in this age also, there are more than 1.8 billion people who don't have any access to milk. So this milk should reach to them also. Then every year they have a theme for this World Milk Day. And this year, the theme is sustainability in the dairy sector, along with empowering the environment, nutrition, and socio-economic. So there are constraints or there are issues related to making available this wholesome milk to the whole human population. And this food item is perhaps the only food item that everybody requires in every age, right from childhood up to the death. So, and every person should have access to this milk. And this theme of the year is very much clear that there are some more issues also. For example, more than 1 billion people are directly related to the dairy industry. So their socio-economic upliftment in our, especially in developing world, most of the people, 60 or 70% of the rural population or overall population is related for sustenance to the livestock industry. So their socio-economic status is not as good as it should have been. So we'll have to think of those people who are directly related to the dairy industry during these celebrations, and then providing nutrition. As I already mentioned, that there are still 1.8 billion people who don't have access to the milk. So we should devise ways how milk should reach to them also. And then one of the most important factors that nowadays are issues now we are facing is that simultaneously we'll have to take care of the environment. And that means the future dairy industry should be low carbon output. The greenhouses have to be minimized. That means the cows which we produce, the greenhouse effect has to be less. And that indicates, that gives us an indication that how can we increase production to reach to those people also who actually don't get access to milk or get low milk. At the same time, we'll have not to further damage the environment. And on that aspect, countries like India will have to focus more, because we are largest in cattle population in the world. But milk production from our cows, this value is only 22% of the world milk production. So that means we have to reduce our number of the animals drastically. At the same time, improve the quality of the animals, so that from lesser animals, we will be able to produce more and more milk, rather far better volume of milk than we produce now. So emphasis has to be given. That theme clearly indicates that. So and one more important issue that has to be given consideration now than before is that now we'll have also to take care of the animal welfare. Welfare of that central point of cow in this dairy industry. Earlier, our animals were just let loose. They were having free range system. That's their behavior. Now we have confined them. We are confining them to the intensive rearing, that inside the houses throughout the year. And then we are pumping them things, and their movement is restricted. So they develop many metabolic diseases. They develop many lameness diseases. And and there are more and more issues of welfare issues coming up for these animals. We'll have to take care of these issues also. With these words, I wish this program very success and welcome. Actually, it is our learned speakers who we have requested them, and they have kindly, as Professor Pampuri already said, they have kindly accepted our request, and they have spared time. They'll be sparing time with us. Hopefully, we'll be learning many things from them. It is now over to them that they will make us understand many nitty-gritty of this industry, so that we all together could make this world a very good world for humans as well as for the dumb animals whom we have always been exploiting, and the environment that we have always been exploiting for our needs only. With these words, I wish that this virtual program starts with as it has started already nicely, and it progresses to the end. I welcome again our speakers as well as the participants to this program. And I thank Professor Pampuri to have given me this opportunity instead of because our Dean Saab, who perhaps was busy somewhere, or extension head was busy somewhere. So he has given me opportunity and I could express some words. Thank you, Professor Pampuri, over to you.
Thank you, Professor Fazlisa. It's always my pleasure, and probably the pleasure of all our participants too, that you are there, and we always learn some good things from you. You always speak some out-of-box things, and here too, really, you have given a brief outlook of the dairy in this country as well as the state, and the different say facets wherein we will have to look into. So by I think now we have been joined by our Dean, Professor Tufail sir. It's my pleasure that he has been there, he is there. I now formally invite Professor Tufail Saab for his words of wisdom, brief words of wisdom, and then formally kick-starting this meeting so that our speakers, which are already there, which have joined before us even in the meeting, so that we can take up this webinar quickly. Professor Tufail, sir, over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Professor Pampuri Saab. Well, esteemed prominent personalities of the dairy industry, heads of divisions of Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, scientists, then Professor Pampuri Saab, Professor Fazli Saab, and participants of the today's webinar. Assalamu alaikum. It is my privilege to welcome you all for the today's webinar on the occasion of World Milk Day, which is celebrated on 1st June every year. This webinar is being organized by the Faculty Outreach Center, Division of Veterinary and Animal Husbandry Extension in collaboration with Mountain Livestock Research Institute, Faculty of Veterinary Science, Coast, Kashmir. As you know, the first World Milk Day was celebrated on June 1st, 2001. This day is being celebrated in 72 countries all over the world. The day serves as a platform to provide opportunities that focus attention on dairy products as a part of healthy diet that supports livelihood for communities. The theme for this year World Milk Day is sustainability in dairy sector, along with the empowering the environment, nutrition, and socio-economics. According to FAO, more than 6 billion people consume dairy products every day. Milk is a rich source of number of nutrients like proteins, fats, minerals, and vitamins such as vitamin A, D, and folates. It is a versatile ingredient that can be easily added to any instant energy to the body as it contains essential amino acids and essential fatty acids. Milk gives us strength to the bones. In Quran, the mention of milk is given in a number of places. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and versely in the cattle, there is indeed a lesson for you. We give you to drink the milk of that which in their bellies is produced, having numerous benefits for you. Surah Al-Mu'minin, verse 16. And again, at another place, it says, and indeed for you in grazing livestock is a lesson. We give you to drink from what is in their bellies between excretion and blood, which gives rise to the palatable milk to drink. Quoted in Surah Nahl, verse 16. Thus, Holy Quran recommends the milk as the best drink, while the honey as the best eatable thing for good health. Prophet ﷺ said, there is hardly any disease that has been sent by Allah except He has provided a cure for it. Hence, get yourself treated by cow's milk as they feed themselves with all types of grasses and plants. Thus, it is clear that milk is a good source of food provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With regards to the UT of Jammu and Kashmir, approximately 70 lakh liters of milk is being produced on daily basis, out of which 40 lakh liters are being produced in Kashmir itself and 30 lakh liters are produced in Jammu and Kashmir. The UT is importing about 11,000 liters of processed milk and 51,000 liters of liquid raw milk from the neighboring states like Punjab. As per an estimate, the per capita availability of milk is 401 grams per day, which is above the national average of 375 grams. The milk requirement of this region is met from unorganized farming sector and some private milk processing plants. Maximum milk distribution is by traditional one, which is exploitative in nature, and only 1.7% is by organized private sector. Jammu and Kashmir Milk Producers Cooperative Limited was established in the year 2004, having 5,372 members at present and 354 dairy cooperative societies. The various weaknesses identified in this sector are the low productivity of the animals, lack of structured package for the farmers, low price of the milk, lack of support services, low availability of food, limited market coverage. At present, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, household consumption of milk has gone down to 4 to 6 lakh liters due to the continuous lockdown and closure of hotels, restaurants, and tea stalls. In brief, there is a great demand for establishment of dairy units for attaining self-sufficiency in the milk and milk products, which can be promoted by proper linkage between scientists, extension workers, farmers. So at the end of this, I wish the best of luck to the organizers for conduct of this webinar. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor Madi sir, the Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Sciences. You have given a very brief scenario of this milk production and its availability in the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Thanks for your words of wisdom and thanks for your good wishes for this meeting. Now, before I formally invite today's first speaker, Dr. Aditya Jain, let me first introduce Dr. Jain to my participants over here. He is the Senior Manager, Product and Process Development, National Dairy Development Board, NDDB. He has graduated in dairy technology and then post-graduated in dairying from the SMC College of Dairy Sciences. He has a 19 years experience in food safety and development of food regulations relevant to the dairy sector at domestic and international level. He has been participating in the technical meetings of the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. He is also ex-member of scientific panels on food labeling and on biological hazards, special invitee to the scientific panel on milk and milk products, and several other scientific panels. He also represented the Government of India at many international meetings of the Codex committees and was invited by FAO to an expert meeting in Rome to develop a technical document currently active in the Codex Committee on Food Labeling. And he's currently leading a team of 5 scientists of the product and process development activities at National Dairy Development Board. This is a brief about our first speaker of the day, Dr. Aditya Kumar Jain from National Dairy Development Board. I'm really highly thankful to the speaker, the first speaker of this meeting, who has accepted our invitation, and he has been there despite his busy schedule. He has really been kind enough to spare his time with us this morning. And it's not that we are celebrating, it's the NDDB also celebrating this day today in a big way. So they were not really, I feel so, they were not there available to give their time in our meeting. But anyhow, they have respected our invitation and they have been kind enough to spare the time of our senior manager, Aditya Kumar Jain, with us. I'm really thankful to you and I am highly grateful to you. You have been there with us in this meeting in the morning. So it's over to you, Professor Aditya Kumar Jain. Please go ahead with your presentation, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pampuri. A very good morning. Am I audible? Let me first confirm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Quite audible, sir.
Yeah, very good morning to the august audience, the learned audience. And it is my pleasure. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be with this learned and august kind of audience and to be able to share my views on new product development activities. I would try to complete my presentation within time. In case because some time has already passed, just in case I need 10-15 minutes after 10:45, I think you will be kind enough to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But after 11, you are there, sir. So our
Yeah,
speaker will be
please.
joining by that time.
I'll try to complete in the
Okay.
interest.
Thank you, sir. So nice.
Just let me share the screen. Yeah. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So the topic of my presentation is new product development and related food regulations. We will go through these broad areas. What is Indian food industry, its importance, the importance of dairy within the Indian food industry, some aspects of food innovation, extant regulations relevant to food innovation, the gaps, and the roles of stakeholders. Now, Indian food industry, as we all know, is very, very important. The food and grocery market in India is world's 6th largest. And within that, the food processing industry is one of the largest industries in India, ranked 5th in terms of production, consumption, export, and expected growth. It accounts for 32% of the country's total food market, and it accounts also for 13% of India's exports in food. It accounts also for 6% of total industrial investment. Around 8.8% and 8.39% of gross value added in manufacturing and agriculture respectively comes from this sector. So we can understand the importance of this food industry, of which we are a small part. Now when we come to milk, we all know, as the professors have also indicated earlier in the meeting, that we are the largest producer of milk. We have reached from deficit to self-sufficiency. It's been a large journey. It's been a long journey. A lot of efforts has gone into it. Over the last 15 years, the milk production has been growing more or less, barring few incidences, at a rate of 5%. The per capita availability has also been growing substantially at the rate of 2.9%. Our share in the global milk production is rising. We are increasingly contributing to milk, through the milk, to the economy of the country. And an interesting thing to note also is that the proportion of expenditure on milk by the consumer in the total food basket is increasing. So there's a trend that consumer is actually spending less on food, but within that expenditure, the expenditure on food is increasing. On milk is increasing. So that gives an indication that consumer is more and more recognizing the importance of milk as a part of her diet. Now, when the surplus happens, when the increase happens, there will be some surplus because the milk consumption will continue. And apart from milk consumption, whatever surplus we have, what to do with that? So that can be used to tap the hidden domestic demand. And if that is also met, then it can be used for exports. And when it comes to food industry, we can picturize it like this. For the food industry to be successful, or the drivers that propel the food industry in any country or anywhere in the world are: first, the food has to be available. Second, the food has to be safe and of good quality. Now, these two things are the basic requirements. But if we leave at these two things, the whole cycle becomes stagnant. And then comes the importance of new products. And that's the reason we see new products coming to the market in every area, be it food, be it anything. So in food, it also becomes very important that we develop new products and put it in the market so that consumers' interest in this particular segment is maintained, or rather grows. And then these three things together will propel your demand. And once there is demand, there is competition, there is growth, and there is revenue. Now, among these factors, we will focus on new products and relevant regulations. Now, food innovation or new products, we can understand as introduction of a new food and or improvement in any aspect of the already existing food that satisfies and or delights the consumer. There's a very good picture that I've taken from somewhere, that innovations start and end at the consumer. So the person on the feet is actually the industry with a rose, that is the new product in hand, and he's offering it to the consumer, and the consumer is picturized as a lady who may or may not accept your product. So this is how important it is that all the innovations, they start and end at consumer. If you don't keep the consumer in focus, you put anything into the market, it will not be acceptable in the open market. Yes, in monopolistic markets where the consumers don't have choice, of course, whatever you put in the market will be accepted. But that's not no more the situation. The market is more and more open to competition and more players are entering. So you need to have your product very, very nicely placed and to have it meet the consumer requirements. The consumer is very complex. So the 4 O's that you see in the complex consumer, it's very complex. The requirements are governed by many factors. Like there are now more nuclear families, lifestyles are changing. People are experimenting more with taste. You see, 10 years back, you never knew what is, Mexican food or what is, Greek food or what is that food, Chinese, for example. We were happy with our South Indian and Punjabi food and regional diets. But nowadays you see that many types of food are there and the consumer is experimenting with taste. Then the kids are demanding. When we were young, we didn't know whatever the parents would give, we would accept. But nowadays the kids demands. So when you develop a new product, you have to keep kids in mind. Extended bachelorhood. So that necessitates that your food should be ready to use or almost ready to use or easy to prepare. Because when bachelors are there, they don't have much time. So they have to, be provided with a food that is more easy to handle and use. There are working wives, incomes have increased, awareness has increased, travel has increased, but in the current situation, I put a question mark because we are not traveling any more since last 1 year. But I hope it will resume and it will continue to impact the kind of food we prepare. So the answer is either you innovate or perish. Now, I'm just giving you some examples of innovation. Just have a look at them and see the underlying portions. Just have a look at what kind of aspects they are claiming, what aspects they are innovating. This is a new product developed by NDDB. It has won World Dairy Innovation Award in 2018. This is another product developed by NDDB. And many more products have been developed. So what the idea of showing these innovations was, you would see that there are different innovation aspects. They range from as simple as claiming that made from pasture-fed milk, cows that were fed with pasture, grazing and all. It's as simple as claiming that it is raw milk safe to consume, or it is, putting some aspects like crackling candy and so on and so forth. So if we just try to club all these aspects, we come to a conclusion that innovation can be done at any stage in the food chain. It could be related to food production like pasture-fed, organic products, biofortification, etc. It could be related to the food designing stage, where you change or play with the ingredients, you use different additives, maybe you use different or more attractive packaging or more easy to use packaging. Because nowadays you might have seen that earlier the pouches that normally we used to have were, you cut a pouch and transfer the contents to another container. Nowadays they come with an opener. You have a small, cap on it on the pouches, like sauce pouches. So you just, open it, consume it, and you retain the entire product in the pouch itself. You don't have to shift it to another container. So these are the aspects in packaging that you can innovate about. Then food processing steps like pasteurization replaced with pulsed electric field. It's not yet done, but there's a possibility. Ionizing radiations for making the milk safe, ultraviolet radiations, high hydrostatic pressure, so on and so forth. You could innovate with food packaging like standing pouches for convenience, antifungal coating for preservation, easy opening. You have many a times we struggle to open those small ketchup pouches, it's very difficult to open. But if you introduce an aspect like you can open it easily, it is very well taken by the consumer. Similar is the case for, small tubs of butter. Earlier, it was very difficult to open those tubs. Nowadays, they have introduced, innovated, and you can very easily open them without, spoiling or without wasting the butter inside. And then there is the aspect of marketing or consumer education, where you innovate only through educating the consumer on importance of food components in diet and claims. Now, this is very important also because sometimes you use a novel ingredient, or sometimes you innovate in an aspect which is not easily understood by the consumer. So you need to create consumer awareness and then let the consumer know of the special characteristic of your product. Now, apart from any stage in the food chain, the innovation could relate to different objectives. What is your objective of innovating? So it could be functionality like ease of use, ready availability, increased shelf life, probiotic nature, increasing or reducing weight. So products designed specifically for it, hypoallergenic products. So these are all functional products. So one objective could be this. Another objective could be creating varieties, as simple as that. You got mango ice cream, so you make lychee ice cream. You got lychee ice cream, so you have chocolate ice cream. So these are all different varieties, new flavors to give consumers a choice. And then you can also have new combinations like cassata or ice cream with cakes, so on and so forth. Another aspect of innovating could be balancing the nutrients. For example, you could increase protein content in some product. You could decrease certain ingredients which are not good for health, like excessive saturated fat or trans fat, or maybe excessive salt. You need to reduce. You could also add, some ingredients such as vitamins for fortification. One more aspect is foods for targeted population. Like you are trying to develop a food for elderly, or the food for children, or the food for pregnant women. That would have entirely different kind of requirements which you need to meet. Another thing is fun component. As simple as that, fun component, busting candies, crackling chocolate. Children like it, even adults like it. And then we come to another important aspect is use of novel ingredients. Not much innovation happens in dairy sector in this, but yes, there is a scope. For example, in some of the countries, they are deriving bioactive components from colostrum, and then they're using it as ingredients in some food to give them some functional properties. So novel ingredients is another area. Then development of analogs. For example, you have ice cream, then you have frozen desserts, which are actually analogs of ice cream, where you replace milk fat or protein with vegetable fat or protein for so many reasons, maybe for decreasing the cost, or maybe for giving certain properties, like people who can't have more animal origin fat or more saturated fat for them. And then there could be certain specific aspects like organic, vegan, natural origin, raw. We just saw an example of raw milk safe for consumption. So that itself is an innovative kind of thing, because normally the raw milk would not be consumed as such. So these could be different objectives. If one is able to innovate in one or more of these aspects, then the product could be considered as a new product. Now, if we see what goes into and what comes out when we talk about innovation. So first thing is to develop a concept based on an idea or based on a need. That could be based on survey or based on your own knowledge of the market. And then you take action, which is develop an innovative food, put it into the market based on consumers' need or market need. And the product that meets consumer need and market need would be successful. And then you can also have some feedback to the concept originator from the market. So if there is something which needs to be further improved, it goes back as a sort of feedback. And then once this is there, concept has been judged through surveys and all, whether it would meet the requirements and all. Then you put some more efforts in food innovation, actually develop the product and put it into the market. And then again, the feedback is an important aspect. Then comes science and technology. All your R&D efforts will be driven by science and technology, which would also, support the food legislation. And the food legislation will also be guided by the market. It will also influence the market, and it will also be guided by the market. None of these things happen in isolation of each other. Now, after everything has been done, then there's marketing and consumer education, which again will impact market, and then it can also be related to feedback to the original concept. So that's how the food innovation happens, and the food innovation idea gets implemented and refined. Then comes the role of food innovation as well as food legislation, which we will talk about. Because this is a new product, there might not be an existing standard. So the food innovation also impacts the food legislation. The food legislation has to have, provisions. It has to accommodate new products. It cannot be strangulating, innovations or new market developments. So all the food legislation would have some kind of provision for food innovation. Now, when it comes to new product opportunities, I would generally see it in the form of 3 segments. In general, the food innovations have focused heavily on fun or novelty component, like flavored milks, ice creams. These are, age-old products you find in the market. The flavors keep on changing, the variety keeps on changing. The same variety sometimes is marketed with a new product, new makeover. And then certain new components are incorporated, like replacing sugar with more healthier alternatives like honey, so on and so forth. So the main focus of these activities is to encash on the fun or novelty component which the consumer needs. And the consumer needs derives on fun and novelty component because of the consumer's need for continuous change. Nobody wants to stagnate. So people want change. We cannot consume the same product every day. And this caters to that need. It provides variety, and this segment will continue to exist. The second segment that we have seen in last 15-20 years is the staple foods like butter, ghee, paneer, dahi, lassi, chach, etc. These are components of staple diet. The quality and availability has to be ensured, and they will be successful in the market. And we have seen they are successful. When they were introduced, like dahi and lassi, when they were introduced, people felt, who will purchase dahi from market? Every Indian makes dahi in the market. But then you see today, it is a very successful product. And now we come to the third segment, and this is where our future lies, is that more food that can replace or supplement staple diets. So this can come from composite food. You compose it, you take dairy component, you take non-dairy component, and then mix them to get more nutrition, more palatability, more wholesomeness for the consumer. It is more satiating also. Because if you are aiming to provide staple diet, it has to have all these components. And it has to have a regular consumption possibility. It can also lead to market expansion, because this is an area where still there is a lot of scope. The challenge here is that because you are aiming for staple diet replacement or supplementation of staple diets, you need to ensure that what you are giving is healthy and is composed of natural ingredients. Now, relationship between food innovator and consumer. The food business says my product is pure, natural, free from cholesterol, high in protein, low in salt, blah, blah, blah. And a thoughtful consumer says, what is he trying to convey? I don't understand. Because the consumer doesn't know what is pure, what is natural, what is free from cholesterol, and whether it is really free from cholesterol. So here comes the role of many questions that arise. How to address these questions? What is the objective description of the product? And then comes the role of food regulations. Food regulations are those objective descriptors which help the industry in defining their product, which give them a yardstick to measure themselves, which also gives consumer a chair or a support to lean back on and expect something which is standardized across the market from an industry. And this is a funny picture which is showing that legislation, which is very heavy, is being taken up through a crane. So this is just a funny representation. Now this is just like a football game analogy where you have 2 goalposts. Now this goalpost is what defines your goal. If you are able to put your football through this goal, then you have a goal, otherwise you don't have. So now this football is your product and the goalpost is your legislation. Your product has to meet all the regulatory requirements. Without that, it's very difficult to have a fair playing field in the market. It is very difficult to convey what you are giving to the consumer. So these are the food standards that are relevant to food innovation. Food safety and standards, food products standards, and food additives regulations. Food safety and standards, health supplements, nutraceuticals, food for... Yeah, I'll close within 5 minutes, sir. Food safety standards, approval of non-specified food and food ingredient regulations, food safety and standards, fortification of food regulations, and it allows health claims. And then there are certain supplementary documents also put in place by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. The major stakeholders are industry, consumer, and regulator. They all have to come on board and develop these standards. Now, when it comes to food product standards and food additives, which is the major regulation important for any food production, it defines the standardized food. It gives all the aspects of, standardized food. It also defines proprietary products which are not standardized. And the good thing is you don't need a product approval for making these products, but you need to have your responsibility of food safety on yours. Then there is use of additives. There's a food category system which very systematically defines what additives can be used in what foods. Then there are microbiological standards for milk and meat products, process hygiene criteria which define hygienic standards, and food safety criteria which define microbiological safety criteria. So what are the gaps currently in the legislation is that application of microbiological standard to proprietary food, how it will be done is not very clear. Secondly, the probiotic strains and related claims have not been specified. The probiotic properties are strain specific, while the list in the regulation is only up to species level. Then use of processing aids. Can there be a generic guidance or list? That is another gap that needs to be plugged. And if there is a food which is of altogether new product, it doesn't fit in milk product, it doesn't fit in cheese product, or maybe vegetable products, it doesn't fit in pulse product. So how do I, go for use of additives in such kind of products? So these are certain areas which need to be, and we hope they'll be addressed in due course of time. So if we have to conclude, the composite foods with natural healthy ingredients that also reduce, eliminate kitchen time appear to be an area of interest and opportunities. Food legislation is becoming increasingly enabling. It is increasingly trying to recognize the importance of new product development, and addressing some gaps in the legislation will further support new product development. So with this, I think I would like to thank you and would be happy to take any questions if you have. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor Aditya. I'm really thankful for this nice presentation, detailed about the innovative products. Rather, the products technology over here comes into play. And we have with us many participants from the division of LPT, Livestock Products Technology. So it will be very nice to them to see how you can innovate the new products in the milk. I think this topic is open for discussion. We can have few of the questions from the audience to be answered by our speaker, by our expert in this field. Please go ahead. And dear Mohi, you can unmute yourself, please. As usual, our Professor Mohi is very active in all our sessions, in all our webinars. So Mohi is there. So Mohi, go ahead with your query, please.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Sir, I would like to know this because there is much hype in the media nowadays about synthetic milk and almond milk. How I would like to know the scientific behind this, and whether they are really having the same nutritive value and same qualities as that of the real milk we get from the cows. I would like to know about something about synthetic milk and almond milk.
Right, you have raised a very, very pertinent question. Actually, these are two different aspects. Synthetic milk is something which is on the negative side. Synthetic milk is a concoction of chemicals, and it is made to look like milk, something white, something liquid, and it is used to adulterate milk. So it's not a new product. I mean, we don't give it to a category of recognize it as a new product. It's an adulterant. It's a mixture of chemicals. It contains water. It contains calcium. जो अपना चूना लगाने के लिए use करते हैं ना, वो वाला calcium, not edible calcium. It contains some cheap oils. It contains some cheap sources of sugar and salt, and these are all put together and mixed. and it may contain some detergent to mix this cheap source of oil with water. So it is a concoction of chemicals, and it should not be manufactured, it should not be used. The FVSc&AH is hard bent on catching such people who are manufacturing it. And even dairies who are accepting milk are testing for presence of any of these chemicals which are used in synthetic milk, and if found, it will be rejected. That is one part. So it is not a new product. It doesn't fall into the category of new product. It's simply an adulterant of an act of, a bad act by miscreants. Now, when it comes to plant-based products like almond milk, and there are so many others which are entering market nowadays, this is another category of food. They are plant-based beverages actually. They are calling themselves milk, which is in contravention of the existing regulation. There is in existing regulation, there is a standard called General Standard for Milk and Milk Products. It very clearly says that something that is not milk, composite milk, or milk product, it cannot call itself by milk, by the name milk, or it cannot use any of the dairy terminologies such as butter and so on and so forth. Having said this, we have no objection to these coming into the market. They are new products, they are new product category, not from dairy, but from some other segment. Some people may like these products. No harm in giving these products, no harm in putting and developing these products, developing and putting these products in market. But calling them milk is not acceptable, at least not in our country, because there is no soya milk, no almond milk, no tradition of consumption of these kinds of things by the name of milk in our country. Maybe in some other country like US and all, soya milk is called milk because many people understand. But in our country, if you call almond milk, in North, I mean, you would know in Kashmir and all, बादाम दूध किसको कहते हैं? बादाम दूध कहते हैं उसको, दूध को जिसके अंदर बादाम डाल के गर्म किया गया और शुगर डाल के बढ़िया सा एक ड्रिंक बनता है, उसको बादाम दूध कहा जाता है. अब अगर हम आलमंड मिल्क उसको बोलेंगे जिससे आलमंड को क्रश करके जो बेवरेज बनाया गया है, तो कंफ्यूजिंग होगा कंज्यूमर के लिए. सो आलमंड मिल्क या आलमंड बेवरेज से हमें कोई एलर्जी नहीं है. दे आर वेरी गुड प्रोडक्ट्स. सम पीपल मे लाइक इट. So for as long as consumer providing variety to the consumer goes, they should come into the market, but they should not call themselves milk. It is wrong ethically, it is wrong from consumers perspective, and it is wrong currently from our legislative point of view. Now coming to their nutrition part, definitely they don't provide you nutrition anywhere in comparison to milk, because for they are totally manufactured products. They are not natural products. You have to have almonds, soak them, crush them, then put some chemicals, stabilize them. Milk is a very natural product. You don't put any additive in milk. In milk products, fine, but not in milk. Now these products, plant-based beverages, they call themselves milk, which is wrong, unfortunate. They don't provide you nutrition to the extent milk can provide. All those claims are false, barring few claims. Now, suppose protein का कोई claim कर लेता है कि milk के बराबर protein डाल दिया है. But what is the quality of that protein? It can never match the quality of milk protein. So it is a misnomer. It is a wrong claim that they are able to provide same nutrition as that of milk. We should vehemently, make people aware of it as a fraternity, as a dairy fraternity. Thank you.
Any
Thank
other?
you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other participant who wish to have some queries? Create. Please unmute yourself, Dr. Shahnaz. Go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you, sir. I would like to ask about A1 and A2 milk concerns. Since A2 is the most preferred because it has lower levels of beta-casenomorphin, which is having high health issues. So, but because of our breeding policy, we are using these exotic cattle having high levels of these beta-casenomorphin. So what are the issues during the synthesis and during all those industrial processes? Should we reject totally the milk from these Jersey and exotic cattle, or what should we do to promote our own desi cattle? Since in our conservation policy also, we do prefer these local and native germplasm. So it does, but how affect our industrial concerns are there. So what do you suggest, and how can we prevent, and vis-a-vis how can we improve the yield without using these crossbred, which have these high levels of, which pose a threat to this A1 milk? which has A1 milk.
Yeah, again, I would say this is a very pertinent question nowadays. People are talking much about it. Some dairies have even launched A2 milk. Now, what is A1 and A2 milk? I think you all know that there's a difference of one amino acid in beta casein at one point. Now, this is, postulated that because of this difference in one amino acid at one particular stage, one particular location, the digestion of the protein becomes different from what is from the conventional counterpart. And it is believed that earlier all the cows were A2, and some mutation occurred some billions of years ago, and A1 cow also came into existence in some parts of the world. Now, having said this, the postulation that A1 milk leads to some diseases, or it will be different in digestion and lead to more beta-casomorphin, which has certain properties claimed not to be desirable, has not been substantiated scientifically. So the current science says that the cause and effect relationship between consumption of A1 milk, which is considered to be not good comparatively, is not established. So the current science doesn't support any benefits of A2 milk or any negative aspects associated with A1 milk. Now, having said that, our policy to now focus on indigenous cow is rightly placed. That has nothing to go with for A1 or A2 milk. And even if tomorrow it is proved that A2 milk is good, our policy is unaffected. I mean, if we just continue to focus on indigenous breeds, in long term, this should be the policy. In short term, for meeting the demand, immediately you need to have crossbreeds. So that is one aspect of your policy. But gradually you have to strengthen your own breeds, to which we are now focusing as a country. Everywhere in the country, everybody is now focusing on improvement of their local breeds because they are adapted to this climate. They are more resilient. They are more economical. And they can be fed with the locally available resources. As a long-term policy, now we are focusing on improvement of local breeds. For short-term, demand and all, meeting demand and all, you don't want to create gaps in demand and supply. So for that, yes, breeding and all these things will continue to some extent for some time. It is very difficult to say till when, but yes, it will continue. And definitely there is no problem in accepting A1 milk. There is no need to reject milk from crossbred cows. But as I have said, the policy and these two things are separate. As a long-term policy, we continue to focus on improvement of local breeds. I think I have made myself clear. If there is any aspect I have not covered, you may just raise it again.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I have taken two important questions from Mohi and from Shanaz. Yes, definitely they enriched us. Our speaker enriched us with the knowledge of that. Now, I don't think we have. Is it there? Anybody else? If not, then I'm really thankful to our speaker Aditya Jain. Before we just take it from you, it is I think it will be the obligation of ours, and for that our and this I don't think is there. Dr. Shabir, are you there? Dr.
Yeah,
Shabir,
sir, I'm there.
can you, please, formally just propose a vote of thanks to our speaker, Aditya Jain. That is our obligation, I feel so. Then we will take other speaker of the day. Okay?
Sir, on 1 second. I, on behalf of whole organizing committee, thank Mr. Aditya Kumar Jain from NDDB for his wonderful lecture, which was really worth listening. Sir, you have shown to us the window of innovation in dairy sector, which is always ever evolving. So you introduced to us the innovations from consumer side to producer side, from input to output and whatnot. And the post lecture session, the interaction was all quite interesting. And I hope the participants have taken the lesson very well. I thank you all from on behalf of whole organizing committee and hope to see you in future as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I will take your leave.
Please carry on.
Please carry on. Yeah.
Okay, we have a next speaker. As per the schedule, we are having a next speaker, our Professor Ramesh Singh, who is present, the VC of Veterinary College, Bihar. But he's there engaged in his own, Milk Day function. But he'll be joining us within a couple of minutes. But I think we'll not waste the time. We will humbly request our speaker, the next speaker, that's Sabahat Kareem. Dr. Sabahat Kareem is there in our meeting, and he has joined early in the morning at 10. So that speaks of his keen interest in this webinar. So Dr. Just Sabahat Kareem is basically, if I am brief about that and correct that he has done Bachelor of Technology, is a BTech, then he did his MBA from in rural management from IRMA. So he has some 10 years of experience in cross-industry activities. So he has been there in airlines, he has been there in dairy and other cross-functionals. So basically this time this speaker Sabahat Kareem is basically the executive officer in JKMPCL, that's a Jammu Kashmir Milk Producers Cooperative Limited. That's basically, I think that's one of the arms of Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, GCMMF. You all know, you are all aware about that, the taste of India, Amul. I think he is from the Amul. So we have been very kind enough to him that he has accepted our invitation, and he has been there with us from the morning itself. So I will not take much of the time. It's simply over to our Sabahat Kareem, the next speaker. Please go ahead, sir.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. First of all, please tell me, am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. You are quite audible, sir.
It is really, indeed, it is my pleasure that Scotch University has invited me in this very insightful session, and I'm really thankful to Aditya Jain sir from NDDB. I really learned a lot from him, and I think it was really prudent that I have joined meeting very early. But to be very frank, I'm not extremely expert in dairy industry, as I have joined dairy only 2 years back. But I will focus more on how JKMPCL is working over here, how cooperative is important for farmers, even it is become more important in such kind of pandemics. What should be our government policy to help our farmers? And as a question raised by Mr. Fazil regarding environmental issues when cow is increasing. So I will handle such kind of questions and give my insight on these things. And I will proceed uh, step by step. Firstly, I will give a small presentation on JKMPCL, then tell you something about on producer part, how we are doing procurement and how JKMPCL or other cooperatives is really beneficial for farmers, and will also give some insight on consumer part. Then we'll take up some questions. Thank you so much, and I'm going to share my screen for presentation. Is it visible?
It's just yes.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. So in front of you, this is JKMPCL, Jammu and Kashmir Milk Producers Cooperative Limited, milk plant situated at Chashma Shahi, and this is a photograph of, I hope it is in Jan or early February. So when snowfall was there. This photograph shows you how milk producers come to our collection center, which we called Automatic Collection Center, AMCS, Automatic Collection System. JKMPCL was established in 2004 to revive two erstwhile defunct milk federation through a cabinet decision. That time, a memorandum of understanding was signed between J&K government and GCMF. That time, our father of revolution, a white revolution, Honorable late Dr. Varghese Kurian Sahab was, uh, Hayat, and he did really very good things for JKMPCL. He deputed a whole technical team in Jammu and Kashmir for a couple of years to develop this dairy. And now this dairy is almost of 1.25 lakhs. We have handing almost 70,000 liter milk in Srinagar in Chashme Shahi plant, collecting milk from throughout the Kashmir from Uri border to Shopian, even beyond that also. And same in Jammu also, there we are collecting approx. In recent first season, we touched around 1 lakh liter in Jammu. So approx we are in total we are handling approx 1.25 or 1.30 lakh liter of milk now. And our expectation is to become 5 lakh liter dairy by 2025. And government is central government, state government is helping us, providing us infrastructure to achieve the same. This cooperative is registered under JNK Self-Reliant Cooperative Act 1919. All assets that time in 2004, all assets including land, building, plant, machinery were transferred at zero value to JKMPCL. What they have that time, that earlier it was run by or governed by animal husbandry, but since then now it is most of the employees except one CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Manoj, who is sitting in Jammu, and me, and we both are from GCMMF, and rest of all the employees are from Kashmir, whatever it is labor or admin head or from finance account, everybody is from the state itself. So basically, our motto is to. Yeah, any question? Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. So go ahead, please.
Okay. So our motto is to make this dairy, self-sufficient, so that whatever the job will create, whatever the revenue will generate, will helpful for the socio-economic development of J&K itself. Our motto is this only. This dairy is complete on Amul model. What we do, establishment of direct linkage between milk producer to consumer. Our model is C2C, which is called cow to consumer, to eliminate middleman, to give a better price to the farmers and give a quality product to the consumer. This is our motto. Milk producers control procurement, price, processing, and marketing. How we work? Actually, we work the uh, how we differentiate important aspects of our organization, which differentiate us from other players, which are still working in JNK and other even part of the India. JKMPCL as an organization is owned by farmers. This is basically you know for all cooperatives. Cooperatives are basically governed and owned by farmers, and the affairs of JKMPCL are being taken care by elected farmers representatives themselves. We have got 8 elected farmers members on the board of JKMPCL, 4 each from Kashmir division and as well as 4 from Jammu division, under the chairmanship of Honorable Shri Angurana sir, who is a retired IAS, and under the technical guidance of our MD sir, Amul MD sir, Mr. Dr. R.S. Sodhi sir, and his worthy team. Over the year, JKMPCL has achieved remarkable growth, and presently we are producing, as I have already mentioned, that around 1.30 lakh liter of milk per day throughout the JNK. More than 3,000 farmers, right now more than 30,000 farmers associated with us via 700 village dairy cooperative societies, among which 200 SSGs with dairy villages which are solely being operated by women, who are earning their livelihood to the tune of around approx 6,000 to 8,000 per month at their doorstep. JKMPCL symbolizes within faith in cooperative system and plays the instrument of development in the hands of farmers. This picture shows he is our father of white revolution, Mr. Dr. Kurian Sahab. He is the man who is behind the success of Amul, the success of NDDB, the success of Institute of Rural Management, from where I did my MBA, success of IDMC, who is providing all the machineries to dairy sector, and one of the renowned company in India. And our philosophy is basically value for money, as I earlier said, to the milk producer, and value for many to the producer, and value for money. What consumer is getting at rupees 44 or 44, she should get quality product. If we are writing 3.1% fat or 8.5% SNF on the packet, so it should be there in the packet. That other companies are not doing. But Snowcap, Amul are committed to their quality. We are doing everything. We are going beyond our limits to, strengthen our quality. So this is the most important structure setup in the value chain of JKM PCL. We have this collection system where in the early morning from 5 to 7 or 5:30 to 8 around, farmers, milk producers, and we are not even, we are coerced to collect even a single drop of milk by the laws of self-reliant cooperative. We can't deny that you have 100 grams of milk or 1 liter of milk, so we can't take your milk. So we are taking from one drop of milk of farmers to whatever the quality or whatever the quantity. So this is our collection system, which is purely automatic. Farmers is completely satisfied. They get printed information slip in which their rate is mentioned on the basis of fat and SNF. We are working all cooperative, same as JKM PCL. We are empowering women in Jammu and Kashmir and throughout the India. See the smiling face of these women. This is the photograph we have taken at our Jammu collection center, where in the early morning people are here to pour milk at our collection system. This is the photo of SSG based dairy village system. We have also collaboration with Ummeed JKS RLM. And earlier NRLM was doing separately and collecting their milk, but a few years back, I have not the exact year on which year we have signed the MOU, but we have signed an MOU with NRLM also, and now we are taking care of all the AMCS and these women to collect their milk, and the same thing which we are doing with JKM PCL, we are helping these women of NRLM also. These are the photos of village Gram Sabha, where we aware producers regarding cattle feed, regarding proper feeding pattern, breeding practices, shelter management. Our supervisor inform everything and aware everything to our milk producers in these meetings. These are a snapshot. These are ladies from NRLM, and we have around 6 to 7 ladies supervisors who cater all the requirement need of ladies milk producers exclusively. And these are some photos from Jammu. And in Kashmir, these are our milk procurement network from Bandipura, Ganderbal, Kupwara, from everywhere, every district we are now collecting milk. It becomes, dairy business becomes more important in such kind of pandemic. And more importantly, when it comes to organized sector. If I, mention only 1/3 of the, milk producing in our India is right now is or in organized sector. So still there is a scope for us to, because if you see in last couple of months or couple of years in COVID-19 1 or COVID-19 2, what organized sector does. Actually, even in the life of rural people, we saw in this situation also, even presently we are making loss of 5 to 6 rupees per liter, but we did not stop a single drop of milk. We are collecting milk over here, sent to, because we do not have a powder plant over here. So we send to Jammu or Amul, any plant of Amul, and do it conversion into powder. So strengthening of organized sector of dairy business is really important in terms of dairy business. more importantly, when it comes to such kind of situation, for stable market and stable, you know, something where a milk producer will not suffer. I heard or read some news around 15, 14 days back that producers start draining their milk, who are pouring their milk to private or some doodh wala or so-called gurus due to dip in the market. This is our data in milk procurement. Year by year, we are increasing. And last year, we procure around 330 lakhs kgs of milk procurement, and we are expected to 450 kgs of milk, inshallah, in the coming years. This is automatic milk collection system, which I have already mentioned you. This is our bulk milk cooler system. We initially we first collect milk at from different milk automatic milk collection system in the village itself. Then our procurement vehicle visit there and collect all the milk in SS cans to avoid any microbial growth, which is fully sterilized. And then that procurement vehicle take all these milk to our bulk milk coolers, where we cool down it to below 4 degrees centigrade to mitigate the microbial growth and to prevent spoilage of milk thereby, and to secure the livelihood of the farmers. Presently, JKMPCL have around 80,000 capacity of bulk milk cooler in Kashmir, and approx 1 lakh liter capacity, bulk milk cooler capacity in Jammu region. We are also providing cattle feed to our farmers to increase the productivity. As at the very early stage of this webinar, Professor Fazil raised a question regarding the number of cows is increasing day by day. So what the data I have, currently we have approx 30 crores of cows in India. So we can't afford more cows. So what we should do, we have to increase the productivity of same cows. And this could be happen only by better feeding practices, better shelter management, and by making them aware how to feed your cows. Earlier, 1 year back, we have started collection from Bandipura. That time we are getting only 800 liters of milk initially, and the farmers were complaining that in spite of giving 300 rupees of feed to their cows, but they are not getting proper milk. So our cattle feed team visited over there and first survey and in what way they are providing the feeds and green fodder and everything. So when we found that the pattern was not good, so our expert team make them aware regarding how to feed them, and the cows which were giving milk that time around 10 liter, 11 liter, after a couple of months, 1 or 2, they started giving month approx 30 liter. I mean, there is an enhancement of 2 to 3 liters per cows. So this is very important to provide. I mean, we have to empower our milk producer in every aspect. We have to provide them market. We have to give them veterinary service. We have to give them a collection center. Then only in toto we can empower them. Stable market. This is our J&K processing milk plant at Satwari, Jammu plant. This is here we have a capacity of approx 1 lakh. This is a state-of-art milk analytical laboratory where we have everything. We have a GC machine in which we can found any kind of adulteration. We have Milko scan for proper checking of fat and SNF. We have sodium analyzer to check any adulteration, whether any farmer or any secretary has adulterated with sodium or with caustic or anything to increase the shelf life of milk. And this is a processing plant, inside photo of Jammu plant. This is silos where we usually keep our raw milk. This is some inside photo of CIP section. This is acid tank costing film, by which we, after every batch, we do cleaning in place to clean all the lines, wall for to maintain proper hygiene and to mitigate microbial growth, because milk is a very perishable item. It is really very difficult and very important to handle in a very judicial manner. so that quality product and consistent quality, you will be able to provide consistent quality in the market. This is from top edge photo. This is our beautiful plant, and uh, I would be really happy if the listeners who are here participant get time and visit our this snow cap plant at Chashma Shahi. This is really a very beautiful place. This is our laboratory at Srinagar plant, same as Jammu. This is our milk plant. This is all lines. Yeah. More importantly, our last year turnover was approx 120 crores. Last year in 2019-20, our turnover was 120 crores, and we further and this year our tentative turnover is approx 200 crores. So it is, as it is known to all, that COVID-19 has brought all sort of business at standstill. Everybody is claiming that they are doing business in loss, but the dairy industry, especially cooperatives, are doing well. And even we have approx in these COVID times did a business of approx 30 crores. And we were inspired to become a 500 crores company by 2025. This is some photographs of our annual general body meeting conducted every year as per bylaws of Self-Reliant Cooperative Act. This is one photograph of our most selling product, which is Taza. This is homogenized product, and this is more demand in Kashmir itself, more in demand. This is our curd cups in 200 grams and 400 grams. We have also recently launched one these curds in pouches also, in 400-gram pouch and 1 kg pouch. And this is our snow cap pure cow ghee, and at very reasonable rate. We have also recently, even yesterday, launched our DTM double tone milk at very reasonable price in Kashmir itself. This is some photograph of our board of directors and chairman, sir, when we launched Amul from same plant, JKMPCL. We have also packing Amul. We are doing double branding. We have approx 17 to 18,000 liter of milk in the market by the name of Amul in Jammu, and some amount of milk by the name Snow Cap. And this is some photograph of Amul brand launched at Srinagar recently in 4, 5, 6 months back. And here we are doing approx 8,000 of liter milk by Amul brand and 15,000 of liter of milk by Snow Cap brand. This is because double branding is because to dispose of the milk of the farmers, and we are in position so that we can procure as much as possible from the farmers. We are also in the mode of expansioning our dairy. We are recently we have a tender to procure more machines. Our USP ultra high treated plant, by which we increase the shelf life of the milk, is going in Jammu. Ice cream plant is about to complete in Jammu. We have recently installed paneer plant in Kashmir. So in next 1 year, I'm expecting we would be able to cater approx 2 lakh liter of milk from Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir itself. We are also a single point of contact for army in Jammu and Kashmir itself. We are giving them approx 1 lakh liter per day milk to army throughout the Kashmir, J&K at different locations. So this is some photograph relief distribution, around 75,000 liter of milk distributed when flood came in September 14. These are the glimpse of exposure visit. We also organize some exposure visits of farmers to establish dairies in Gujarat, in Banas, for their exposure. How their farmers, how the dairy industry in Gujarat, how they are working to empower them more. So our vision, as I have already told you, is to achieve 500 crores turnover by 2025, expansion of our procurement base, handling more than 5 lakh liter of cold chain infrastructure, having milk chilling capacity, providing technical inputs, infrastructure, enhancing women involvement in dairy cooperatives, so on and so forth. I'm from GCMF, so GCMF is technical, giving technical guidance to JKMPCL uh, or whenever we required anything at JKMPCL in purchasing, in technical support or financial support, they are um, every time stand with us, even in this pandemic situation when we have surplus milk. So we contact our Amul plant in Jammu through our HO in Gujarat, and they are ready to cater our that surplus milk at very reasonable rate. So, but seeking help to grow further, I mean, what I feel, there is some policy lapse uh, in, in government when they decide budget. There approx what data I have, uh, dairy sector contributes 30% of India's entire GDP. 30%, approx 8 lakh crores. And if you combine paddy, wheat, sugarcane, it comes to approx 6 lakh crores. So the sector which is contributing 30% is getting only 10% of the budget, and the sector which is not contributing that much is getting 90 to 95% of the budget. I'm not saying that we stop allocating budget to agriculture, but government should focus on dairy sector also, allocate more budget to dairy sector, so that our youth will come over here, and we would be able to make it more lucrative and modern. So this is all about from my side regarding JKM And two, three more things I want to explain over here. Uh, how we are procuring, and what is exactly about procurement network, and what is basically about distribution network. How we make societies. Our team, our supervisor, our procurement in charge usually visit in the particular village and aware them about the benefit, advantage, disadvantage of contributing or adding, become a member of a society. So this is how a society become. Will we form a society, then a proper chairman, a secretary. Like we are making our balance sheet and profit and loss. Similarly, a society is making their balance sheet, profit, or everything is very transparent at society level. We have camera, we have everything in at BMC also, Milkway scan machine, to be very transparent for producers. uh, very timely payment to the producers. We are providing cattle feed, awareness about others animal. We also aware them about other animal husbandry schemes. Uh, Now, if we talk about market sector, how we become a market leader in market sector. So we have to focus on three, four things, which is very important. Number one, quality and consistent quality. If you are providing consistent quality, no one can shift your consumer. Availability, it should be available at a proper distance, not more than 300 meters, 250 meters. It should be available on e-commerce website. You should have a proper app of your company, so that a consumer can get a home delivery. And it become more important in such kind of pandemics. Pricing, as Adit Jain sir has told regarding product portfolio and innovation, we should have product portfolio also. If we want to sell and dispose more milk in the market, we should have a product portfolio. Having being only in the milk and curd, you can't get a market of 30,000 or more in any state or in any city. So you should have a more product portfolio. You should have ice cream, you should have UST milk, you should have a different variant of milks, different curd, with different packaging. So you should have a very good distribution network also. So in this uh, COVID, when the sales of other competitors dropped by 70 to 80%, our sales dropped by only 20-25%. And we are helping our distributors by providing them financial support in terms of a scheme. Uh, as far as students is concerned, there is a very huge scope. It is expected in upcoming years, 20 crores of liters would be expected, which would create around 1 crores of job. There is a scope in product development, in the lab of the dairy plant, in processing section, in route for procurement, in IT section, finance section, marketing, production, supply chain, so on and so forth. It is experimented. If you start or start producing 1 lakh liter from any particular provision province, it would create around 6,000 of the 6,000 job, 5,000 in the village level and 1,000 in the city level. So, in my views, is coming in dairy business or getting into dairy business is really helpful, especially for our rural peoples. This is all about from my side. If you have any question, please ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabat, Kareem. Thanks a lot for your this presentation, a beautiful presentation, which has given a good scenario of dairy in our state and the role which is being played by your organization, your federation there. That's worth applauding. Yes, I actually was there in animal husbandry department for long
Yeah,
14 years. And I am well aware of the fact that what was there with the Chashma Shahi plant. And then it was taken in 2004 by Amul itself. And from then we are getting good results from that plant. And I think I love your products, that cap, snow cap milk.
yeah,
Personally, I always prefer to use your brand, that is snow cap, rather than other brands there. That's my personal view. I could find that good for me, at least even better than other brands in the market. So we are really pleased to have you in this forenoon over here to share your, the wisdom and your experience in this sector, dairy sector. Well, I think one opportunity we can harvest from yourself. That's we have. This say the officers at the helm of affairs, our dean of the faculty, even our members of the committee, which are there designing the internship programs. Probably for Professor Fazli sir and Professor Tufail sir, there is a good opportunity, and I think they are going to offer us, even if we can see that our internees can have 15 days training program at this Chishma Shahi milk plant. I think there'll be no hesitation from the Sabahat Kareem also, who is heading their plant there. If we have some permission from the plant, and we can design our internship program that our students in internship can have fortnight training at the plant itself. We may take this opportunity. We may just we can harvest that offer from the Sabah Kareem there. So I wish that our this MLRI, that's at Manasbal, we do have one farm there, which is headed by Professor Fazili. If Fazli sir is there, he can unmute himself and he can just give us glimpses of what little dairy plant we do have and how much we are producing there, the milk that comes into the market in a Chalimar brand. Fazli sir, are you there?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir. Can you just enlighten us with this?
Exactly. Thanks, Professor Pampuri, for again handing over to me. Actually, Mountain Livestock Research Institute, that we call, that's the only dairy farm in the organized sector in Kashmir Valley. Department of Animal Husbandry doesn't have presently any dairy farm, and this dairy farm belongs to University, Sher Kashmir University of Agriculture Science and Technology of Kashmir. So that farm was actually started by Department of Animal Husbandry, J&K government, long back in 1977-78. It was a dream project in which around 2,800 or more canals of land was taken over from different agencies. Even from a high school, 600 canals had been taken. Revenue Department and Animal Husbandry itself had some 500 or 600 canals of land their own. And a single patch of chunk of land, prestigious place on the just four shores of the world famous Manasbal Lake. And then in 1982, it was transferred to, when the university was formed, it was transferred to the university along with all the assets. And employees were given option whether they want to continue to work in the Department of Animal Husbandry or they want to shift to university, and some of them shifted and remaining went back to animal husbandry. And then it was actually, it is the dairy farm. This is the nucleus of what crossbreeding we are now seeing in Kashmir. Uh, we are we are having now the daily availability of milk, which is better than national average. The focus or the central point has been Mansbal Dairy Farm, because this farm was actually called as Bull Mother Dairy Farm by the Animal Husbandry Department. Bulls were produced there. They were distributed to all villages, highland pastures, for breeding purpose, for to upgradation of the local germplasm. And then subsequently frozen cement technology or liquid cement technology came, and then again the bulls were taken from this farm for the stations, what we used to call as ABS, artificial breeding stations in districts. And now in frozen cement banks, they were taken from this farm because it was pure Jersey farm in the center of the valley. And that process continued. University offered to provide always, and even now we are offering to provide the high quality breeding bulls wherever Animal Husbandry Department requests it. But they, after taking over by the university, the farm has three clear-cut, or the university has three clear-cut mandates, that is teaching, research, and extension. Our BVSc students, who are now around 100 students in Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, they are getting practical trainings in our dairy farm related to dairy sector. Then we have postgraduate students also from the production as well as clinical and paraclinical subjects, whosoever want to work, have their research programs related to dairying, they are doing that work there. Then we have more than 12 those research projects of the university, which our faculty members, we are currently 6 faculty members there. And then the faculty members of Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, they also collaborate and they also conduct research there. And then extension part, we are, since this is the only organized farm, as I have mentioned earlier, so the Department of Animal Husbandry, Department of Sheep Husbandry, EDI, and our KVKs in every district, they bring potential entrepreneurs regularly to this farm, and then they have a visit and see what is going on there. But unfortunately, this farm was taken over by Army in 1990 with the start of militancy. Whole of the farm was taken over by them. And only in 2016, we were given a separate chunk of land, a concrete wall was erected, and in which more than 2,450 canals are already occupied. And now we are with the remaining 450 canals of land is with us currently. But we are now independently on the other side of the military farm. Otherwise, we were, military establishment. Otherwise, our farm and employees had to go in, was inside that campus, and that created very much that progress did not occur, the progress it should have been from 90s to 2016. It was merely how we maintained that farm and how animals and the employees were just could save themselves. And now since 2016, we are again on the progressive mode. And presently, if we have 6 or 7 operations continuously going on. Number one is we have around 300 canals of fodder land, which we are producing. We are self-sufficient in our fodders. We are having a very good agronomist with us, and he manages the whole of the land. It is lush green. Anybody can visit now and see how we have more than a dozen varieties of fodder crops now growing, and very nicely growing. And last year also, although there was very less environment temperature during winters, it was harsh winter, but we are self-sufficient in our fodders. And we preserve also, we have 3 silos, and we preserve more than 3,200 quintals of fodder as silage. Then we have hay shed where we preserve our hay, and those processes are now, we are in peak of harvesting and preserving for the next winter. Now that is one section, and we have also a cafeteria of the fodder crops there. So all the students who are coming, and they are being shown and demonstrated different varieties of fodder plants and their yield, etc., etc. Then we have a nutrition lab we have a feed plant where we compound the feed. Last year, we have procured 10 feed ingredients by tendering, and now and we are preparing our own Shalimar feed, quality feed based on the requirements or the standardized formula which our division of animal nutrition helps us in that. And then we have almost during last 1 year we have fed our animals feed for more than 33 lakhs, and we have also sold our feed, our sheep farm, Shahama, and our KVKs wherever, or some farmers also take some who want some few quintals of feed, they are getting it, or we are even supplying to Ladakh this year also more than 100 quintals of feed. So that feed plant is also a very good feed plant that we are running now. We have, as I already mentioned, we have 3 silos for more than 3,200 quintals where we preserve. Nowadays, we are preserving at this point of time this oats, and then subsequently we'll be preserving our maize and sorghum. And then we have vermicompost, also perhaps the largest vermicompost unit in J&K. We have 148 pits where we develop vermicompost, quality vermicompost. And even last year we had sold the vermicompost for around 9 lakh rupees. We are selling it, that is Shalimar vermicompost. And then we have a small milk processing plant where whatever milk we are producing inside, we are pasteurizing it and packaging it in 500 sachet, and that's called as Shalimar milk. And we are supplying that milk during winters once, and during summers now we are supplying twice to our Shalimar campus headquarters, where through Atik, the milk is sold to the employees as well as to the public. And also we sell on daily basis the milk which we do not send to Shalimar in the on the this gate of the farm to the general public. So these are different sections which are going on. We have also a clinical laboratory, a small clinical laboratory for our animals. So we have, as I have already mentioned, we are presently 6 faculty members there, and we have our backbone, our the force, our backbone force is Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, or the Faculty of Veterinary Sciences own us, and they give us all support, whatever we require. We wish that this, even yesterday, our worthy Vice Chancellor visited for the first time to our campus, and when he went around all the things which were running as per his expectations, and he was very much kind enough to point out himself that this unit has all the basic infrastructure and facilities for development of a dairy technology faculty. So maybe university is now thinking of, and he has given us a rather a green signal, or he has given us a hope that this farm can be in future a dairy science faculty because of the variety of things that we are doing at smaller level. But since during last 30 years or so, it was that the development did not take place at that pace. But now our university is very much concerned about it. And now perhaps we have a Vice Chancellor who really is very rather active, and who has given hope to all of us that things will improve. The pathetic condition will not continue, but things will improve with our farm, with our institute as well. Thank you, Raksa.
Thank you, Professor Fazli, for having a brief of your organization, your center there.
But sir, one thing I'm sorry to interrupt again. You actually started related to internship. Since I am presently not rather supposed to talk about that, but from a previous experience, this is a very good idea that as per internship, we'll have to take our students to such facilities. And we were really not, in fact, I was also not knowing about this, what our speaker, Kareem, told us. If I would have known it earlier when I was in charge internship, I would have definitely requested them to adjust our students also there. And this is a very good suggestion from you. I think the present management, Dean Saab, as well as the internship coordinator, they should take up case with this agency, and this is a segment which our students are short of. So our students are now having internship throughout the year. Otherwise, earlier it was only 6 months. So they can be trained, or they can be sent to the whether headquarters Ishme Shahi or their collection centers. They will themselves see how they are collecting, processing, and their products, and that will be very much beneficial to our students as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I think our Dean, Tofail sir, is there, and he has taken this point, and probably we'll see that they designed the internship program like that, that our students get exposed to this milk plant also that's there in our state. And I think we are running short of the time, and I do realize that we have a speaker with us of a high profile, and I realize his engagements, and he is still with us for last half an hour. So I cannot just afford to make him wait there. So I humbly take leave from Sabahat Kareem. I am really thankful to Sabahat Kareem. He has been there with us during this morning, and he has given a very good, nice presentation of their cooperative society, which is running in our J&K state. And good to see that some, say, 6,000-7,000 those cooperatives are linked to them. That's a good thing, and 2 lakh liters per day they are processing. That's also good to note here. Thanks, Dr. Sabahat Kareem. We have another speaker with us, and I do respect his profile, so I cannot just make him to wait more there. So we have with us our speaker, that's Revered Professor Rameshwar Singh. He is presently holding the chair of Vice Chancellor, Bihar Animal Science University, Patna. So if I can have a brief of the Professor Rameshwar Singh before I formally invite him for his lecture. So he has initially educated from a village school in Haryana itself, and he got his MSc degree in dairy microbiology from NDRI Karnal. Then he also qualified the Agriculture Research Services of ICR in 3rd batch and joined as a scientist at Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Izzat Nagar, Bareilly in July 1978. He worked on recycling of the animal organic waste, microbiology of feed and fodder, live microbial feed supplements, animal probiotics, ruminant fermentation. He also got then PhD degree from the IVRI Izzat Nagar itself in the discipline of microbiology, working on the biodegradation of the lignin in cereal straws for improvement of their nutritive value. He has a stay of roughly 17 years there at IVRI, and worked on many interdisciplinary projects, then played an important role in the foundation of the Animal Nutrition Association of India. Dr. Singh has joined the National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal in May 1995. He then took charge of the National Collection of Dairy Cultures, that is NCDC, and play a major role in strengthening and modernization of the same. The NCDC is the single repository of dairy organisms in the country and serves various interests of the industry and research in the dairy, food processing, and life sciences. Dr. Rameshwar Singh headed the All India Network Scheme on Dairy Microbes, besides working on collaborative projects with dairy industry and National Dairy Development Board. He also served as a registrar NDRI, Deemed University, from January 2004 to 2012, and held the additional charge of Joint Director Academics at NDRI. He represented India at World Dairy Summit organized by International Dairy Federation at Shanghai in 2006. Then he was also awarded as FAO HRD visiting fellowship at Utah State University, USA for a period of 3 months, where he has advanced study in the field of molecular biology on lactic acid bacteria. Then Dr. Rameshwar Singh joined the ICR headquarters at New Delhi in September 2012, where he headed the Directorate of Knowledge Management in Agriculture as its project director. So he headed the consortium for e-resources in agriculture, that's the CRA, and then subscribing close to 4,000 research journals from reputed publishers. Then he was instrumental in proposing and finalization of the open access policy of ICR. He also steered the mass media project of World Bank funded National Agriculture Innovation Project and modernization of ICT infrastructure at ICR headquarters located at Pusa, New Delhi. So this was a brief about the profile of our speaker. Next speaker, Professor Rameshwar Singh, holding the charge of a Vice Chancellor, Bihar Veterinary College, Animal Science and Sciences University. I am personally known to Professor Rameshwar Singh when I was doing my PhD in NDRI, and I'm really highly obliged to the sir. At that time, he was holding the charge of as a registrar in the university, and I'm really indebted to Professor Rameshwar Singh. Many times we have approached him, and he has been always kind enough to help all the students, including me there. So most welcome to Professor Rameshwar Singh over this platform. Now this forenoon, I'll not take much of the time there between my participants and you. I simply invite you for your presentation, sir.
Thank you, Professor Pampori, for your nice words of introduction and for giving me this opportunity to interact with the participants and faculty of Squashed Kashmir on the occasion of World Milk Day. Honorable Deans, Professor Fazli, Professor Tufail, faculty of Squashed Kashmir, learned speaker, invited guests. At the outset, I convey my greetings and good wishes on the occasion of this World Milk Day. I am so thankful to Pampuri and all the organizers and authorities for giving me this opportunity to interact and learn about the dairy situation in Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, I know very little about the dairy position of Jammu and Kashmir. I have tried to put some data, but really I was struggling with the authenticity of the data, and whatever I present about Jammu and Kashmir in my slides may not be, there may be some gaps. So you may excuse me for that, and you can correct the same if you want to reproduce somewhere. Please verify that data so that you are not caught on the wrong foot. I have tried my best to present my, some of my thoughts. These are mostly the random thoughts, and a lot can be discussed and said about this sector. This is very important sector, and I could see the presentation by Sabat Karim, learned speaker from Jammu Kashmir Cooperative Federation, Milk Federation, and he has tried to give a very good overview of the situation of dairy and various, futuristic plans. So I will make a small presentation here, and I would like to share the screen with you. Hope that is visible now.
Sir, screen is visible, but your presentation is not in a presentable mode.
Okay, I will just put it right.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's okay.
I'll go to the first slide. This is going to the last slide.
Okay. Okay, no issue. No
anyway,
issue. No issue, sir.
I will just put it again.
Okay.
Here. Okay.
Okay, you can take it to presentation mode, sir.
Right.
Okay, good, sir. Good.
Thank you. Thank you. So, as we all know about this scenario of dairy, we understand the importance of milk in our culture, and we are also having this very age-old tradition of milk consumption, milk production, raising livestock, and how closely it is woven with the socio-economic fabric of the rural society, especially. And it adds, to nutrition, it adds to their supplementary income, and gives productive employment. Along with the crop science, that is crop production, we are utilizing the land for raising some fodder, for getting some of the byproducts from the agriculture produce, and trying to feed our animals in a low cost feeding model, which is supplementary and complementary to crop production. And certainly it adds to the income when we are additionally keeping the animals. Though there are commercial dairies also, and many commercial dairies are coming up in different parts of the country, which are operating on large scale, but still less than, say, 2% contribution in the total milk production comes from these commercial dairies. Mainly it is the production by masses and kind of scattered model of production with the low or medium scale inputs, which we are trying to strengthen and make good use of through our cooperative and private sector. It helps a lot in poverty reduction, as many studies have shown that the return on investment in dairying is quite significant. It is in the ratio of 1:4 or even 1:4.7, as pointed out by many studies. So it is very helpful to the rural people and the large population which is engaged in this work. And if we see the overview, we are ranking at number 1 since 1998 in the milk production in the world, and we are showing a good growth annually, around 5%. We contribute around 22% of the total milk production in the world, and our per capita milk consumption has also increased substantially, and the demand is also growing. So there is a good future for dairy farmers, that they can produce more, and domestic demand is there. And if we improve upon the quality and we come to some situation like FMD free zone or FMD free country, then we may be able to export the surplus milk and milk products in a bigger way, though we have a small share in the international trade at present. These bar diagrams show the kind of production by small and marginal farmers who produce more than 85% of the milk. So what is this milk? We value it so much, and this is one of the ideal foods nature has given to us, to all mammals. They raise their young ones by feeding mother's milk, and it is having high quality protein, fat and fat soluble nutrients, micronutrients, lactose sugar, which is a disaccharide and has galactose as one of the monosaccharides, which is good for the development of the brain in the early childhood, infancy, I will say. And many fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins are there. Some of them are very prominent, as you can get more than 1/3 of your daily recommended dietary intake through 1 cup of milk. So single serving is giving you more than 1/3 of your daily requirement. And we can consume dairy in different forms. by converting into different products. And there is a very, very large variety of products which we have in the country and also we find across the globe. And one more beautiful thing about milk is its acceptance through all cultures, all nations across the globe. So there's no taboo on milk consumption or non-acceptance. That is one thing which creates the good demand for milk and milk products. The kind of milk products in which we can convert ranges from different variants of fluid milk, including our daily milk of various fat content and flavored, and especially the milk shakes and milk with badam and concentrated milk like. Then I will talk about say, lactose-free milk also. Some people may have intolerance to lactose, and the lactose-free milk is also available in the world in selected markets. So the cultured products like dahi and yogurt and lassi and all those different kind of cheese. The Western world is very fond of cheese, and now pizza and other such pies are popular in India also, where cheese is continuously, regularly used. Dry products, powders, etc., long life products, heat concentrated products, heat condensed products of various indigenous, sweet meats, mithai, barfi, pede, fat-rich products. Where I come from Haryana, and without ghee, we cannot think of any, good food, dahi, ghee, and milk. So that vegetarian population has a strong preference, and the wrestlers from Haryana, they consume a lot of ghee and prize it as one of the health building. Similarly, the tasty frozen products like ice cream and kulfi and all that, and different sweets which are based on chena or acid curdled products. And paneer is one of the culinaries which is selling in good amounts in the market from the organized as well as from the unorganized sector, and different kind of chocolates, kheer and all those. So the range is too big, and some of the products are displayed here. Some of the sweet meats here, which we all consume on different occasions. And though we are conscious about fat and sugar content, but we relish them and enjoy these sweet meats which add value to this milk. And a lot of income generation comes through the production of these products, and the value addition globally is very, very high in Western world. The processing rate is very high. But in India, we have to catch up with the processing and the kind of value addition. Value addition we are not doing to the same extent. The unorganized sector is doing a more business in value added products. So the strength is that we are having a very good growth, and it is a sustainable model which does not compete with the food grains for human beings, and subsistence is mainly on agricultural byproducts. Though we have very large bovine population, this is our strength as well as weakness, that we produce more because of the more number of animals, but we are concerned about different environmental issues, nutritional issues, disease control programs, which we have to look after the large number of animals. And we are focusing on improving the genetic potential of our animals. We are continuously registering a good growth in milk production, which is more than double of the global growth in milk production. And because we are having the low input model, our cost of production is also low. So the milk is more affordable and can reach, many people have access to milk. We have a wonderful animal for the northern plains, and even in progressing in south now in Andhra Pradesh, that is the buffalo. We are having India and Pakistan jointly have the majority of the good milk producing buffalo in the world. And there is a big demand from different countries, even in the European world. And some of the products from buffalo milk are priced like mozzarella. So more than 120 countries are asking for the buffalo germplasm from our country. And one more aspect is the resilience of this sector. In case of adversity, the buffaloes or the dairy industry serves as the cash flow or mode of subsistence for the farmers. And even in the pandemic situation, the dairy sector has performed relatively better and shown good resilience. I just tried to find out from Patna Dairy Project, that is the Vaishali Patliputra Milk Union, and they told me that they are having the similar kind of milk collection, which has not been affected this time. In pandemic first wave, the milk collection was more because other than cooperative sector, the collection went down. The private players' activities were restricted, their sales were restricted, so they were shy of milk collection. And that's how the milk collection for the cooperative sector increased. And they had to cope up with the handling of extra, milk. And many, sales of specific products went down. The figure here is missing for fluid milk. It is 25% down this period. The second wave, ice cream and cold chain products have suffered a lot, especially they are sold during the summer months, and ice cream has gone down by 90%, whereas dahi by 30% and lassi and other cold chain products by 60%. However, paneer has picked up, shown increase of 15% in sales, and the sweets, they are branded, packaged, and having more shelf life, so they have registered a growth of 25%. Table butter has remained, at the same level. Ghee also at the same level. Due to the more conversion to powder and the long life products, the capital flow has reduced, capital in hand, and that's how the government has given the intervention of holding the interest on loans so that you can pay little later. In India, the white revolution started with the cooperative sector, with the start of NDDB and World Operation Flood programs. Earlier, the dairy farmers were exploited by middlemen who used to purchase milk at low rate and then sell it. And they also, spoil the quality of milk. The farmers did not receive proper remuneration, and they were struggling to come out from this system. And we now have the world famous cooperative system and the brand Amul and local brand in different states, like we have Sudha in Bihar. They have shown, good system of collecting milk from the masses and maintaining the quality and processing it for profit and supplying the fresh milk to the urban population and dairy products to the urban population at reasonably affordable rates. And that's how Amul has become one of the biggest companies. And the beauty of this system is good returns to the farmers. One of the system which is paying maximum return to the producers. So these companies, these cooperative sector also support the producers by providing inputs for breeding, feeding, and healthcare of their animals in different forms, and that's how they are developing the catchment area. And this bar diagram shows the timeline for development of dairy and milk production increase due to various interventions of Operation Flood, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then National Dairy Plan, and reaching this level of 198.4 million metric tons in the country, starting from 17 million metric tons in early 50s. And if we see the change in the population of different, livestock during the recent census, 20th census conducted, we are seeing the decline in the number of male bovines. The total number of indigenous male bovines has decreased by 6%, and females has increased by more than 10%. Number of indigenous males has declined. Total number of cattle has declined by, indigenous cattle has declined by 6%. Total number of indigenous male, cattle has decreased by 29% during the period of 212 to 219, whereas the exotic or crossbred cattle has increased. The female population, especially of adult female population, crossbred has registered more than 39% growth, whereas the adult male, crossbred male have decreased by 42%. That is the kind of scenario developing due to mechanization of agriculture, tractorization of agriculture, and low requirement for the male bullocks for the draft purpose. Though in hills and small farmers, they do certain operations with bullocks even now. So this is the outlook by one of the rating agencies, which is a consultancy, gives services, CRISIL, and this has rated 65 commercial dairies, which account for more than 2/3 of business in dairy in India. And they say that India is expected to grow at the 5 to 6%, and again going to acquire the size of 1.5 lakh crores recent in the coming years by maybe next year. Local restrictions due to COVID maybe may put some restrictions, and as discussed, the sales of certain products are likely to be affected, which are like ice cream and others. Whereas there is a steady demand for fluid milk, and this is supporting, and again the high value products, they are also value added products sale is also increasing, and that is having a positive impact on dairy sector in the country. So this is the kind of change which we have seen, and here from 1987, if you see the total buffalo population has increased by 40%, 45%, and buffalo in milk has increased by 60%. So that is very interesting. Total cattle has gone down, whereas total population of cattle in milk has increased by 54%. And similarly, the crossbred have shown phenomenal increase if we compare with the introduction in early 70s, or if we compare with 87, the numbers are quite impressive, and we are getting a significant amount of our milk from the crossbred animals now, though 73% of the total population of dairy animals is accounted for by the indigenous cattle population even now. So these are the trends for cattle and buffalo population. If you see the number of cattle is very high as compared to buffalo. It continues to remain high, but the milk production by buffalo is very significant, say, from around 50% to 57% in different stages. Currently, we are having more than close to 50% milk production comes from buffaloes, but because of high fat and high total solids, if we account for this fat corrected milk, then the share will be more. One point about our production is the high number of animals, large number of livestock bovines in the country. if we compare with the milk production, then in the productivity, we are far behind the developed world where milk production is more than the number of animals is smaller. You see Germany, New Zealand, UK. But if you look at Pakistan, the figures may be better than India in terms of the per animal production. We rank at 93rd position in the world, though we are the top producers of milk in the world. So a lot of scope for productivity. And some figures on J&K, where I could find that in GDP, the livestock sector contributes around 11% and 5% at national level. And this is increasing from 4%, it has gone to 5% in the recent past. And milk from 2.54 metric tons in 2018-19 has shown annual growth rate of 6.5%. So 2,540,000 liters of milk is produced, increase from 1.3 metric ton in 2001 to 2.54. That is almost doubling of milk has taken place in the last 20 years or so. And per capita availability is good in Jammu and Kashmir. And these figures are, becoming more impressive as Sabahat Karim was making the presentation. And we see that 60% or more milk is coming from the crossbred animals. And the kind of efforts being put in by the Jammu and Kashmir Milk Producers Cooperative Federation, the growth we are looking forward to, and this will add. So these are the same figures presented in a different way, where we are trying to show the productivity of animals, also in crossbred, in local cows, in buffalo and goat. There is still a lot of scope for improvement of productivity, though it may compare well with the national average. It does not. It is far below what we have from Punjab and Haryana and Andhra Pradesh, which are the leading states in this. And recent figures have been shown to you by Sabahat Karim, so I don't want to go into this, but the kind of average price being paid by JK MPCL to farmers looks attractive to me, and hope the dairy farmers will be attracted by this kind of intervention and kind of availability of ready market for their milk in the state. I have tried to put some of the issues here. That is, I am talking about low productivity with high population, shortage of feed and fodder, and continuous reduction in area under fodder production, late sexual maturity of dairy animals, and superior, germplasm. There is shortage for good breeding bulls, and the kind of semen doses we require if we want to cover all the eligible females with the superior germplasm from the good breeds of milch animals. In the field, indiscriminate breeding still happens in different states, especially in Bihar. We say it is only 26% coverage, whereas in some of the states like Kerala, it is more than 98% to close to 100%. Low processing. I find in Jammu and Kashmir also we are having low levels of processing, where we need to accelerate the processing and value addition. Quality is another issue where we are trying to address, but because of the scattered production, it remains an area of concern. And training of farmers and proper adequate testing facilities and cold chain facilities will help reduce the spoilage and improve the quality. And in extension and adoption of new technologies is also slow. So this is the kind of scenario in processing. where we see that more than 50% of the milk is retained at home, and the milk, surplus milk sold to the industry, 80% share goes to the unorganized sector, and out of the organized sector, around 50-50 sharing is there with the cooperatives and the private dairies, whereas the self-consumption at home is around 48%, and the private vendors and unorganized sector, that accounts for rest of the milk. So the per capita consumption of processed milk, you see that India comes much lower than the world average also, where the processing or value addition is more, especially in the European Union and also in the US and other oceanic countries like New Zealand and Australia. So we need to improve on this and take more of the value-added products which are nutrient rich, and they can provide more nutrition and more return to the farmers. And again, we see the milk yield, where the average per lactation yield is very low as compared to different countries. It may be 7 to 8 times less than the top producing countries, where in one lactation we have the figures like 10,000 liters or even more. So our figures you can see on the right hand side, and our crossbred and exotic cattle also have an average of like 11 kg or so, and the buffalo around 6 kg. So that is a lot of scope to improve, but with the kind of feed resources available and the cost of production, we are having these figures, and some of the commercial dairies are trying to improve this. We have a problem of surplus animals. Some animals which are there is no taker for them, and they create problems. So we have to reduce the number of animals, and we have to relook at our different policies. We have the religious sentiments for cow, but the buffalo shows the better utilization, and we are also #1 meat exporter in the world because of the buffalo meat. So the answer to this large number of animals lies in promoting buffalo also in a big way in the country. And there are many claims on on cow, the therapeutic value and the properties in urine, gomutra and all that. But they need to be validated, and government has come clear in the parliament on this issue. And we need to validate scientifically all the indigenous traditional knowledge which is available to us, and we are utilizing this in feeding, breeding, and handling of milk, and into converting milk into different products. Whereas another challenge is coming from the non-dairy beverages, which are also being labeled as milk. These are the almond, soya, or some other nuts and oats, where they some kind of preparations are being labeled as milk. So the National Cooperative Dairy Federation has raised an objection to that. And in the Western world, these are being pushed in a big way by the industry, where they are positioning them as more nutritious for children, and the misinformation is spreading and showing its effect. So the adverse effect may come on our industry also, in terms of decreasing the demand and increasing the sale of some of these products. So we have to create good awareness on this and put all the scientific evidence and data before the stakeholders and consumers. Here you can see the comparison of nutritive value of this milk and different, plant-based so-called milks that may come from soybean, may come from cashew, may come coconut. So make macronutrients as well as micronutrients and vitamins and bioactive peptides and other, nutrients are very much available, and they are available in better bioavailable form as well as in larger quantities. Some of these plant-based products are also fortified. So if we also fortify milk, then this will have more nutrients, and the industry goes for vitamin A with vitamin K and vitamin D fortification, and research work is going on in some projects on iron fortification of milk. Though we have a lot of calcium, a lot of phosphorus, a lot of vitamins, fat-soluble vitamins, and high quality protein and fat in milk. So the matter is with the court, and hopefully it will be resolved. But academicians, doctors, nutritionists have to spread the good words about nutritive value of milk so that we overcome this before it becomes a problem in India also. So the major constraints are that the dairy sector is under funded in the government budget as compared to crop science and horticulture, because this contributes around 28% of the GDP in at national level in the agriculture GDP portion, whereas the allocation of budget is low, as Sabahat Karim also pointed out. Then we have the mixed crop livestock farming system, where farming is livestock production is always considered as a secondary or as a subsector of agriculture. That's how the psychological, advantage or the favoring, more favor is given to the crop production. 80% bovines are with the small and marginal farmers, which they have 2 to 3 animals. So the scattered system, less penetration of technology, less mechanization, and less importance in the market, because they don't have much say, being not that rich. Again, there is a problem of feed. The balanced nutrition for animals is not available. There is a lot of untapped potential. Mainly we rely on crop residues and byproducts, which may be cakes and bran, oil seed cakes. That also many times is de-oiled cake, which gives good protein and which is low cost. So local resources are utilized, or they should be utilized in more better manner. But molds and problem of toxins, the farmers should be educated about aflatoxin and other problems in the oilseed cakes. We have low yield, poor genetic, composition, and poor reproductive efficiency. Maybe the lack of mineral mixture feeding, lack of certain, good quality feeds. Where in high yielding animals, we can give the bypass protein or bypass fat, and also utilize some of these direct fed microbials for better feeding. And the extension services also are not that good. And due to different, issues, there are losses of due to infertility. 46% losses are accounted for. Different diseases account for around 32%, and poor feeding and other miscellaneous reasons, they contribute around 22% losses to the sector. So we should all encourage, scientific interventions by better, fodder production, fodder conservation. Silage should be promoted, and straw management and urea treatment or ammonia treatment of straw and molasses treatment of straw can be a good alternative, and it is being picked up by some of the organized farms, but the small scale farmers are not able to absorb all these technologies, and they purchase the feed from the industry where the mandatory quality regulations are still not in place. So there's a demand from farmers and from the dairy industry, producers to impose or to come out with the regulatory environment where minimum the quality standards can be introduced, and better high yielding varieties of fodder, maybe fodder trees, perennial grasses, and regular fodder crops. They should be encouraged. Availability of seeds of these fodder crops is a big issue many times. And in health, we are having the National Disease Control Program. I'm upbeat about the FMD control program and the brucellosis control program. But side by side, we should have the mastitis and good vaccination preventive measures for other diseases also. Farmers should be educated about different diseases which can be prevented simply by timely vaccination, and farmers should be encouraged to go for good record keeping so that the identification of animals is proper, their record keeping is proper, and then the availability of good germplasm. When we go to buy animals in the market, we are at a loss. We don't know the authenticity, and it is very difficult to check the milk yield and other record of the animals. So buying a good animal from the market becomes quite risky, and you may have an animal which is having some disease or some other problems. So scientific interventions are required where we can have subclinical mastitis detection. There are tests available, but these are not popular with the farmers, or they are not in the knowledge of the farmers. Similarly, early pregnancy detection. We have some commercial farms where the farmers are even having the portable ultrasound machines. So they are going high tech, but the machine costs around 9 lakhs. If you affordability becomes an issue. So only big farmers who are doing commercial farming, having more than 200 to 500, high producing cows, they are going for this type of mechanization and high tech in Punjab. But there also, due to high investment, many farms have closed. They tried to copy the Western model and invested too much money, which was not remunerative. So reduction in the age at puberty, so that the productive life can be more and early benefit can be taken. Use of sexed semen to prevent the proliferation of male animals, and production of female heifers or female calves to replace the stock and have more lactating animals. This technology needs to be propagated, and it is now coming in the indigenous breeds also. The semen availability is being provided by different players. Separate collection and branding of buffalo milk can be helpful, where NDDB is coming now with Amul is coming with a plan to collect milk and go for mozzarella production and capture the buffalo mozzarella market, which is very lucrative market in the West. So this type of interventions can help in the value addition and increase the quality and shelf life of milk and milk products. And again, the use of probiotics and therapeutic components can add more value to milk and increase the total, position of the value-added products in the dairy sector and give more returns to the farmers. And we can also look forward to disease-free status and especially FMD-free country where the disease can be eradicated, and we may be, our milk and milk products can be more acceptable in more and more countries, so that in future we have surplus milk that we can export across different countries. There were some claims on superiority of Desi cows, and many statements were given by some of the political leaders and religious leaders, etc. And they were causing some concern to the scientific community. However, the government has come with a reply in the parliament on the 12th of March. Statement was given by the MOS, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, and Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Dr. Sanjeev Balyan, that there is no big difference in the quality of milk or in the value of milk from different breeds of animals. They may be Western breeds or they may be indigenous breeds, but the ITK or indigenous traditional knowledge we have to harness, we have to collect, and we have to scientifically validate so that we can pass on the right information. I was just reading one article on this in a magazine on dairying, and the editor had written this sentence which I'm reproducing here. If you wish to pass on the baton of scientific dairy farming to the younger generations, then we will have to take the path of scientific validation and logic. Anything less would not be treated as cool by Generation G or so, called the youth of India. Now, this was by Mr. Kuldeep Sharma, and we have to see the value of his words. There are many schemes by central government, as I mentioned, National Animal Disease Control Program, where FMD is being targeted, 100% vaccination of all the species, namely cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, and pigs, to eradicate, first to control it and finally to eradicate. Again, brucellosis, 100% coverage and 100% funding by the center. So this is a good program and kind of investment being done. More than 11,000 crore is, spared 13,000 crore in 5 years for this National Disease Control Program. Similarly, National Program for Dairy Development, support for dairy cooperatives and farmer producer organizations, development of dairy processing and infrastructure and development fund with the NDDB and with the NABARD, and nationwide artificial insemination program to improve the breed and improve the genetic potential of dairy animals. This is covering 28 states and 600 districts in the country. So hopefully these results will come and we will be able to improve the quality of milk and also the productivity of milk per animal in the country, and control the emission of greenhouse gases which are blamed on Indian cattle and large bovine population in India, so that we have the environmental compliance also with the international community. I want to acknowledge the help received for this presentation from Dr. A.K. Srivastav, Dr. Indrajit, Dr. J.B. Prajapati, Dr. Raka Saxena, and Mr. Sri Narayan Thakur from Patna Dairy for this. And I also take this opportunity to thank Zahur Pampori and organizers of this event from Squashed Kashmir. And I thank all the participants for sparing their valuable time and allowing me this opportunity to share my words with you. So thank you, Zahur, and so nice of you. it was, a wonderful occasion to interact with you. And I have not visited your university so far. And near future, I would like to visit the university when things become normal. I had my friend Professor Nasir Ahmad as your Vice Chancellor, and also I'm uh, having good, words for Dr. Tej Pratap and now Dr. J.P. Sharma. So I convey my regards to all the Vice Chancellors and former Vice Chancellors. And we have here Professor Alauddin Ahmad in Patna, who the founder Vice Chancellor for your university. We are proud to have him with us. And you also mentioned about internship. So I want to thank Squashed Kashmir for choosing our university for the internship of your students, and also we will be sending our students across to Kashmir. Your batch came here, and we were so excited to have those students here. But unfortunately, this COVID has come in the way of our further movement. So we will take up this opportunity and take up this once again and join hands and collaborate with the Squashed Kashmir to strengthen our learning and academic opportunities. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Have a wonderful time. And again, my best wishes on the occasion of this World Milk Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this nice presentation. We are really honored and then humbled to have you as a speaker in this morning with our August gathering over here. Really, this is our pleasure, this our honor that you have been there. One of the participants, one of the speakers, lead speakers in this webinar. And really thankful for your presentation. That's a detailed presentation wherein we could see our challenges and even the opportunities in our sector, in the dairy sector, as well as the animal husbandry sector. That was really very knowledgeable, and those ideas we'll have to take up for our research as well as for our management. It was a very nice presentation. I'm really moved with your presentation, and so are my participants. So I think we will take one or two brief questions from the audience.
Sure, welcome.
If they have some queries, please be brief because we are running short of the time. You can take some one or two questions, please. Any of you, sir? Any of the participants, please unmute yourself and just go ahead with your query.
You can put in the chat box also if you have any.
Yes.
I will pick up from there.
Thank you.
Zaur, I would like to greet all my students who are in your faculty from NDRI.
Yes.
Here, so
I am one of them, sir.
Yeah, greet all the students. Wonderful meeting virtually. Though I'll make it, on some other occasion to be physically there. Thank you.
Sir, just one that.
Okay, Professor Fazli, sir, please go ahead.
Sir, I'm not Dean. Dean is somebody else. I'm Dr. Fazli. Sir,
he's
so
in
nice
charge
of
our.
Sorry,
Sir, so kind of you, Professor Pampuri has already described your presentation. It was so nice, so nice. So, and that's what we wanted at this stage. But I don't have any query, but just one word of support. So you are now Honorable Vice Chancellor of an animal husbandry university. We in Jammu and Kashmir don't have the veterinary and animal husbandry university as yet. Hope you will find a drastic change in the livestock sector once these animal universities, independent animal university is established. Kindly give some insight to our participants and to us that how much important it is to have a separate veterinary and animal husbandry university in any place for that matter. Now you have the experience throughout India. There are so many universities and they are doing wonderful job. We wish that our this area should also get one university so that our livestock industry and our these dairy sector will also flourish. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Fazili. We have seen the growth of these, subject-specific universities, and they have been established as per need. We see the kind of development at Guru Angad Dev Veterinary University, Ludhiana, then in Tamil Nadu, Tanuvas, and Rajasthan. We have seen earlier there was one college and the kind of allocation of budget and other resources, because most of the time the more emphasis was given to the agriculture, per se the crop science and horticulture, the leadership being from those very areas, and the crop science being very close to their heart. So it is due to this, opening of specialized universities in these areas that the impetus has come. And no doubt this, has strengthened the kind of activity of livestock in the state by more interaction with the department, more interaction with the stakeholders, and strengthening the extension work. Otherwise, in extension also, we do not find many experts from animal husbandry, and in different KVKs also, the component of animal science is very, very small or missing many times. So this is a good idea, but recently the government has come out with the new education policy, where they are, again focusing on multi-faculty growth of different universities. So I don't know which way we are going to proceed in future. But some of the universities in this specialized area have really done very good work, and they need to be emulated. So thank you, Professor Fazli.
Thank you, sir, for this.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Yes, for this insight. Yes, our new national policy is probably against this
creation of subjects.
Splitting. They want to have it in a collaborative mode under one umbrella. We don't know we will succeed in getting a animal science university in our state.
It's a long way to implement this new
Yes, but let us be hopeful that we see this sector flourishing in our state also. Thanks a lot, sir. We have with us one more speaker. Probably you must be knowing Dr. Kishore Indori. He has been IITian from Kharagpur.
May I have your leave?
Yes.
Because I'm here continuously from 10 a.m. and again there is some urgency. So I would have loved to join Professor Indori's talk, but I like to take leave of you and thank all of you, and kindly excuse me for this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Most welcome, sir. We are really grateful to you and highly obliged that you have spared your precious time. And I do realize, and I do just acknowledge your engagements being ahead of you.
Kindly proceed, sir. Kindly proceed.
Thank you, sir. So nice of you, sir. We are looking forward for your cooperation. So again, we have one other very important speaker and the last speaker of this day. That's Dr. Kishore Indori Indukuri. He is the founder of and managing director of SITS Forms Private Limited, Hyderabad. So he has been there in news and social media for a good period of time. Because he is the man, a young man, has shifted from, from engineering to dairy farming in a cooperative way. So that's really the message that was in our previous lecture. We could find that cutting that when you are just shifting this industry, dairy industry, into the hands of youngsters. I think this is the man, the youngster who has taken this, the challenge, and he is leading one of important this cooperative SD SID Farms Private Limited in Hyderabad. If I can say a brief about Dr. Kishore, he has done his BTech from IIT Kharagpur, and then moved USA to get his master's and PhD degree in polyscience and engineering from University of Massachusetts. And then he started his cooperative career at Intel Corporation in Arizona, working in various capacities there for roughly 6 years. Then he moved back to India and started SIPS Farms with a mission to provide pure milk to the public. And then he started from a very small dairy farm in 2013 in outskirts of the Hyderabad, and now at the time he is serving some 15,000 households daily, and impacts more than 1,500 farmers. Probably this is the inspiration from for these young generations. See, IITN from Kharagpur, then masters and see doctorate from USA in engineering, and then coming to the dairy sector, picking up this job as a cooperative career. I think a very inspiration for our young generations, for our veterinarians who subject matter there. They can take the lead in such cooperation in cooperatives, dairy cooperatives, and can just be the job providers than the job seekers. I'm really highly grateful to Dr. Kishore, who has accepted our invitation and is now with us this time on this platform, despite I know he is very much busy, and this day particularly because from many quarters in the India itself, throughout the country, is inviting the Dr. Kishore for this celebrations on World Medical Day. He'll be soon there from NDRI platform, and we have taken his time. I don't think we're really highly obliged to him. Somehow he has been there with us this forenoon. I will not take much of the time between my participants and the speaker of the day. The last speaker of the day, and we would like and we would be happy to listen him and his career shift from engineering to this dairy sector. Dr. Kishori, it's now over to you. Please go ahead. If you can please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Professor Pampori. Okay. Sorry, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. We are obliged to have you over here. We are really humble.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Professor Pampori. Thank you, Professor Shabir Hamdani, sir, for inviting me. Thank you, Honorable Deans. Thank you, Honorable Faculty, for the invitation. I'm excited to be here, talk about our journey. I will, I'm also, grateful for all the information and the lectures that were presented. Aditya Jain ji, Karim ji, and then, Professor Rameshwar Singh ji. Really informative lectures. I would like to, start our journey. Please feel free to stop me, ask me any questions. I try to put it out as a story, as a journey, how we started, and and what are we able to do now as a small entity. So feel free to stop me, interrupt me anytime with your questions. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. It is just coming up. You have started your screen sharing.
Okay.
We are yet to receive it.
Okay.
Probably again you will have to you will have to again put it there. Please unmute yourself and share your screen, please. Dr. Kishore, if I am audible to you, unmute yourself, please.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Really,
Please just share your screen.
Sorry about that interruption.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Just take it into the presentation mode, please.
Yes.
Good.
So I'm going to spend a little bit of time, sharing our journey.
That's what we want from you.
Yes. So, so my journey really started, in 2012, early 2012. I worked. I graduated out of IIT Kharagpur, and like everybody else, went to the US to do my master's and PhD, and then after that, worked for Intel for about 6 years. Always had this, bug in me that I wanted to come back. I wanted to do something in India. We had a little bit of agricultural land. I thought, why not try it? I didn't have any experience per se in agriculture, but it was something that was close to my heart. So I, decided, it was time, and moved back in end of 2011 back to India. Right. And so I did visit, in my early days, we did a small business model. It looked like on Excel, and it looked like there was money in dairy farming. Visited few farms, both in Hyderabad as well as in Karnataka area. Looked at their operating models and said, maybe this is something that we could do, right? And started with a small leased facility on the outskirts of Hyderabad with 20 cows. We bought our cows from the Coimbatore area and started growing different grasses that were recommended by universities here. And that is how our journey started, really. I mean, I didn't know much about the field. There is a lot of information in the last few lectures. I mean, over the course of time that we learned. But really, when we started, all we wanted to do was produce good milk, and that is how our journey started. So if you get into understand our first 2 years, right, after doing it for a few months, what we realized was dairying is something that you have to do 365 days in a year, right? Cows have to be milked twice a day, no matter what, right? And you have to work with labor issues, animal health issues. Sometimes there are productivity drops. Mastitis can be a problem. Others can be a problem. Making sure FMD vaccines are happening, and all these could be issues, right? Managing all that. On top of that, the much bigger problem is for a producer, right? In early 2012 or late 2012, when we went out to sell our milk in bulk, we were only getting 15 rupees a liter. It has definitely improved recently now. Now at least the rates are anywhere from at least around 30 rupees now. But back then, we were making only 13 to 15 rupees if we sell it in bulk. So we figured we have to sell our milk on our own if we have to survive, right? Then March 1st, 2013, we started selling milk direct to customers. When I say direct to customers, our people would milk our cows early in the morning, manually packet the milk, and take the milk direct to customers' doorstep. Right. And we went to communities in Hyderabad, apartment communities, residential societies. We would, I would sit with flyers, explain them about our milk, saying that only pure milk, not a drop of water, nothing else in milk as it should be, right? We were explaining this to customers and slowly increasing our customer base, right? Slowly, I think word of mouth, word of mouth spread, and then people started asking for our milk. The demand grew. We first went from a manual hand packing machine to a foot-operated packing machine, right? And then when the demand increased beyond 200 liters, we invested in an automatic packing machine, right? Please remember that we never ever thought about, packaging or processing the milk when we started, right? So we were learning these lessons on the fly, right? And the challenge there was, we would wake up at 4 in the morning, milk our cows. It would take an hour. Then, after that, half an hour it would take for packaging the milk. And then our auto would start and then give milk in the city to the customer's house, all by 6:30, right? There are a lot of things that can fail here if you realize this, right? There is, auto can stop somewhere in middle. There could be a puncture. The packing machine can break. So a lot of things that could fail, right? And as the demand grew, that 4 became 3:30, 3:30 became 3, 3 became 2:30. At one point, we were waking up at anywhere from 1:30 to 2 in the morning, right? Just to make sure customers would get our milk by 6 in the morning. Right. So after that, we realized that, we had to, move from just doing raw milk to actually at least chilling and doing a basic pasteurization of our milk. So July 2014, after about a year and a half, we invested in a mini pasteurization facility, and we set this at the farm. Right. This is how we move to understand that we can only survive this if you get to the next level, which is also processing the milk cow. So so if you want to understand what we do, right, as an industry, we sat down and to say, what are we doing? One, we are producing raw milk. Second, we are also doing processing and packaging of milk. Then we are going to communities and marketing our own milk. We are doing both, and we are doing logistics and last mile, which is direct delivery to customer's doorstep. And then once you give milk directly to a customer, you also have to do customer service. Remember, we are a new brand. Nobody knew us in 2015, right? So I would take calls from customers, and 6 to 10 in the morning after milk deliveries happen, if milk packet has leaked or if milk split for any reason, right? We would basically replace the packet of milk, but essentially talking to customer, understand their problems and solving them is very, very important, right? So the great thing about, starting this sort of an effort is basically the feedback from a customer is always instantaneous, right? Something wrong with milk or quality is not great, you'll get a call from a customer and they'll tell you, this is not good, right? Today, aaj doodh thoda katta hai, aaj doodh split ho raha hai. What that feedback is almost instantaneous, right? You deliver the milk by 6:30, you'll get a call in an hour, right? So, but important part was we were doing everything, right? We were doing all the 3 or 4 aspects, right? And the lessons that we learned is typically, ideally 3 different industries. These are 3 different industries. Dairy farming itself, which is not an easy industry, right? And then milk processing, where we have to master this field, because if you want to provide great quality milk processing could be master karna hai. Then distribution, transporting last mile to the customer's doorstep, and also getting time. It's not just selling the milk to the customer, right? It also taking the money back in time, right? It is a huge working capital issue if you don't get money from your customers on time, right? And then also understanding dairy farming, economics of dairy farming is different when you have 10 cows, when you have 50 cows, and you have 100 animals. It's definitely different when you go to 200 animals and beyond, right? And we felt that, as we started doing this, as we started with interacting with farmers around us, small farmers, at least when you have less than 10 animals, they were doing it better than us, right? Small farmers, because they do it themselves, husband and wife and son or kids do it themselves, right? They take better care of their cows. Summer or winter or whatever, they figure out a way of feeding their cows and calves better, because it is like family for them, right? When a farm becomes larger, typically sometimes the care that you provide to an animal suffers, right? So we felt our small Indian farmers are actually doing really good practices, right? So we felt, why not talk to them, why not work with them and see what we can do. So this was a talk that I gave at IIM Ahmedabad a few years ago, and they asked me to talk about value chain. I didn't know the meaning of the word value chain then, but it is basically listing out what are the most important things for you, for your business. And if you write down what is important, one, raw milk production is absolutely the most important thing, but it is the highest cost and it takes a decent amount of effort. Then processing milk. The good thing about processing milk is it is very expensive when you start it, but the cost goes down with scale. As you start to process more and more milk, the cost will come down. You can work with much better machinery. Then you have to do marketing. There is no other way around marketing. You have to do it if you have to survive. And obviously the distribution, last mile, the technology needed for doing distribution, technology needed to track vehicles, and the technology needed to do customer service. Right. Initially, when we started, we just have one phone. I used to handle the phone. All the calls would come to my number. I would handle it. But as the number of calls started increasing, as our customers increasing, we needed to use technology, better technology, to make sure there are ticketing systems, there are IVR systems that we use to track calls, making sure we are answering calls on time. All that, I mean, I'll share a little bit in our presentation. So we wrote these things down, and one of the things that came out glaringly was this, along with our own production. By this time, we reached about 100 to 120 animals. Right? We felt that one, if you own all of the population, right, it is a big risk because you're owning all the production. Productivity risk drops. Managing them is very difficult. We felt that if we can work with farmers, excess milk can be diverted or used for making milk products. Also, capital, you can scale much faster, right? You can scale much faster. The thing that we set out to do is pay them better prices, so our production processes are adapted. For example, for our farmers, we do this, right? If a farmer has to inject a cow, if a cow falls sick, and they have to treat them with an antibiotic, we tell them that you separate and give it to us. We don't penalize them for the antibiotic milk. They still get the same price for all the milk, but they separate that antibiotic milk and give it to us, and we reject it, right? So we have done such practices. We do a lot of testing at the farmer end to make sure the milk is pure. And we figured out processes that we can work with farmers but still get 100% pure milk. Right? So that is how our concept of having our farm as a model farm, where we provide training and consultancy. Today we do Ajola tanks where we train our farmers. If the farmer wants to do Ajola, we initially take up the cost of putting Ajola plantation at his facility, and then we deduct it over a course of time. Then we do tree fodders. We grow moringa, we grow subabul, sesbania, and other tree fodders, and we are experimenting to see if that can also aid in producing concentrated feeds at a lower cost. Then we recently started working with BIFE, where we are introducing sorted semen for our farmers, where we are subsidizing about 70% of cost of that for our farmer network. Right? So, but one important thing when you start onboarding farmers, right? Now, important thing is testing of milk. In 2014, we just started looking at this field, right? In our early days, we would buy testing kits from National Dairy Development Board. And in those days, I think only NDDB kits, these kits would cost us 4,200 a piece. We started using those kits to test our milk, right? And as we started testing more and more milk, right? Every 40-liter can, we test for urea, sugar, glucose, hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, melamine, anything that is externally atomic. So we realized that, our cost was increasing, right? And the kit would get done in a day or two, right? So then we said, how can we do this better? How can we do this at a low cost? So we went through FSSA manuals. We dig through all the FSSA manuals, and our team and I sat together and we started preparing these reagents so we can do a lot more testing at a lower cost. So today, all of our adulterant and preservative testing, we do it using our chemical reagents. We have IndiFOS machines also that can do automated testing at a faster pace, but we do rely a lot on chemical reagent-based testing. We do antibiotic strip-based testing to make sure there are no antibiotics in the milk that we get from farmers. And we do aflatoxins. We recently also acquired a HPLC machine to look for hormones and other things that can come into milk. Right? So, we felt that if we can gather expertise in milk testing, we tested the farmer end. We do instant milk chilling centers at the farmer end, get great quality milk from the farmer, great quality tested milk, and bring it here, process it, pasteurize it. When I say process it, we do minimal processing of milk. We do basic pasteurization only, and then package it and then deliver it direct to the customer. And that is how we started building our model. The second important thing is developing our processing capabilities, right? The first processing facility that we built was actually just one room, right? All we had was one packaging machine, a small pasteurizer, and a chilling system. Then we realized that, as we started gaining more confidence, right, from 2015 or so, as we started gaining more, then we invested in a small piece of land a little farther from the city, and started raised a bank loan from Syndicate Bank. Syndicate Bank supported us with that, and we started putting together a better state-of-the-art processing facility, right? And that's how we invested, learned a little bit more about processing. So the next important aspect is now how do you sell milk, right? As I said, one important thing that we always did, right? How does a new brand like us go to the customer, right? And it is always community marketing, right? We would go to communities, sit in apartment communities or in residential societies and offer taste your milk sessions, right? And we would do milk testing demonstrations. We would send them flyers, and also do a lot of events at the farm, right? Before COVID, one of the things that we did really successfully was farm events. So this is things that we did in the early days from 2013 to 2016, and once we built the new facility, we did it in a much more focused way. Every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We do something called an open house, where customers can come, people who buy our milk can come, non-customers can also come. They can look at our facility. We start with milking a cow first. Parents, kids can milk a cow. Then we take them through all our grass growing operations. We take them on a tractor ride to our grass growing operations. Then we show them our ajola ponds, right? We show them our moringa trees, how grass is cut and fed to an animal, and then we give them an entire tour of our milk processing facility, right? And we do this very religiously, right? For over 2 years, every Saturday, we never even canceled one day. This is in a part to all the colleges and schools that we do. Those are done on different dates. But this is how our customers know what we do, right? They go through each and every test that we conduct. And that is how the confidence in us as a brand grows, right? And this is how we are able to connect to customers, and we've seen that the growth has come through word of mouth. What was 10 into 15 liters initially in 2013. We are able to serve about 19,000. We are able to do about 19,000 to 20,000 liters of milk daily today, right? And as I said, one very important aspect of is direct home delivery, right? Today we have a team starting with about 2 people in the beginning. Today we have a network of 220 delivery boys, right? Independent agents and apps like Big Basket, Super Daily who do it. We sell our milk predominantly through our network of delivery boys, and we use a lot of technology. For example, starting from how a vehicle start from our processing facility to the city, and then from there how other vehicles travel, right? All of that is tracked with technology, right? For all the people looking at, there's a lot of technology available outside, right? So initially we started with a software as a service model where we used other people's software, other people's technology for this. Slowly, as we are growing, we are introducing our own app for tracking daily deliveries, doing customer payments, and also plugging a lot of thefts and leakages in the system. We also monitor our data very closely. Every complaint that comes in, we analyze it. We send a testing kit to customer's house to show them that our milk is in fact pure. We also, track pretty much every variable. As soon as a call comes, how fast are we able to respond to it? How fast are we able to resolve it? Right? So we do these and follow these very closely. And in a nutshell, right, we started, my goal initially was, I named this after my son Siddharth. My son's name is Siddharth. So I felt that started this as a promise from me to my son Siddharth, saying that we'll only do the best milk possible. Right. And, over a course of time, I think as customers started liking what we do, we were able to expand this. Today, we do pure cow milk, we do pure buffalo milk, we do pure cow curd, we do pure cow buffalo curd, we do cow ghee, we do buffalo ghee, and without any preservatives, antibiotics, or hormones. Right. And the unique benefit that, our customers see is, a milk that they can give their kids without worrying about anything. That milk mein ye hai ya wo hai, right? The customers truly feel that this is great milk that they're able to give their kids. With that, I would love to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore, for this nice presentation. Really, it was good to see how you have just integrated your engineering in our dairying. Okay, so developing the apps and all that. That's an integration. Good to see that. It's really appreciable over here. So you have not just missed your technology there, your field of engineering there. Rather, you have collaborated that with the dairying. That's good to see there. I'm really I'm very happy to see you over here, and your speech that is inspiring, at least for our youngsters now, where you have started with few cows and now few liters in the market, now 1,000 liters in the market. Sir, what about your, those cattle or buffalo, the breeds and what that you are keeping? It's crossbred or purebred or the local, whatever you are just raising there in your farm. That will be a little query from myself. And there may be in the participants, there may be many very much interested to just interact with you. And I am seeing my one of the colleague over here, Shupujan, Dr. Shupujan from Ranchi, itself. I could see him there. If he is there, he can unmute himself. He can just come up with his queries, please. Yes, Shupujan is there. Yes,
I'll take that question, sir. So our cows currently are crossbred. Our buffaloes are predominantly Murrah breeds, sir. And this is the population that we see across our farmers also. In farmers, we have Desi buffaloes as well. Yes, sir. So our cows are predominantly crossbreds, but we do have a population of Desi cows as well. But we don't today classify our milk as from Desi cows or crossbred cows. If a customer asks us, we tell them that our milk, our cow milk, is basically from crossbred cows, because that is, I think, the good amount of the population of milk comes from crossbred cows. So we just say crossbred cows is what we do, sir.
So I think it's now open for our participants to interact with our speaker. It will be really good to see your interaction with our, particularly our students. They can have an interaction with our speaker.
Two hands that are raised, sir. So if they can ask, please.
Yes. Anybody can unmute and he can just directly.
Hello.
Yes.
Are you listening, sir?
Dr. Rafi.
Yes. Dr.
Please
Kishore,
go ahead. Dr. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is simple, that you have expanded your business by collecting milk from nearby houses also, as I got it.
Yes.
So you are claiming that everything is pure. That's very good. I appreciate it. But do you daily test their milk, or you test their milk on and off? Because we don't know.
Sir, every day, every 40 liter can gets tested.
For what parameters exactly?
So we look for urea, sugar, starch, glucose, hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, any external skim milk powder that you can add to milk. We have Rennie centrifuges to test for that. We have we have a test to look for melamine in milk. Then we do antibiotic strip-based testing. So currently we look for 3 parameters: tetracyclines, beta-lactams, and sulfonamides. We look at aflatoxin testing as well. And then we also send our milk for testing for hormones also. See, we do this every day, right? The one important aspect, the way we do it is we prepare reagents. So these are small bottles that our extension staff carry to farmers. We prepare all the reagents beforehand and send it to first farmer things, but also tested at a facility in our processing facility. Also, everything gets tested again at a processing facility level.
So you are first collecting all the milk and then collecting in a single. You are collecting as a whole, then testing from that. 40 liters you are taking out of the whole amount.
No. Every 40-liter can of milk gets tested.
Oh, every 40 liters. So if exactly,
yeah.
If one lot is found to be adulterated, you discard that one only.
We reject that.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Otherwise, you have to discard whole the amount if we test only once. Okay, I got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for antibiotic testing, I mean, since you've asked it, antibiotic testing is expensive, right? Each strip, right? For example, our cost of testing, for adulterants is less than ₹1 per test. For example, if you test antibiotics, right, the strips cost at least 150 rupees per strip, right? And the way we do antibiotic testing is we take 10 cans, right? For example, you put your 10 cans, you take a sample from each of these cans, mix the samples together and do a test on the 400-liter sample, okay? And if the 400-liter sample tests positive, then we go down and test 5 cans, the sample from 5 cans. That is how we find out if a test is positive. We go down to that can and find out which can is contributing to it, right? The first primary thing we tell a farmer is, if you have to treat a cow, tell us and do it, right? Then we don't penalize them for it, right? Okay. If they don't tell us, this is how we pick it up, right? We've spent, for finding one farmer, we spent more than 10,000 rupees sometimes. We've had rejections where, we've rejected not just 40-liter cans, we've rejected 1,000 liters of milk also over antibiotic. But we take this very seriously. We do this testing. We do over 2,000 tests daily. I'm not exaggerating when I say we do over 2,000 tests daily on our milk in our processing facility. This is in addition to all the tests that happen at our collection centers and the farmer level centers also.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations for that. Because we are seeing this is the first of its kind in India, I believe so. So what is your retail cost finally, consumer?
So we sell our milk at 75 rupees a liter.
Okay, it really deserves to be. Okay, thank you.
And that is how we are giving our value to our customer, right? Because we are telling them that this is pure milk. We do not stop at any level, right? See, whatever it is, whatever technology it is that is there for testing, we want to own it. We want to bring it. We want to make sure, the customers get that value from our milk, right? And that is what we tell our customers every day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm Dr. Muhi. I'm Associate Professor in Veterinary Medicine. Sir, I would like to know it's an extension of basically Dr. Rafi's question. I would like to know whether you perform somatic cell count on bulk milk, what you get. Because in foreign countries, this somatic cell count, that is the only criteria, I suppose, where they reject this milk on the basis of whether the animal is suffering from subclinical mastitis or mastitis. Yes, I would like to know about somatic cell count of your bulk milk.
Yes, ma'am. So currently we are, SCC count, we are not yet doing it, but we do all the other things, 60% alcohol, 70%, 80%. We do MBRT testing on the raw milk. We make sure it matches our parameters. But, SCC is something that we want to implement and we want to push with our farmers and try and meet the same European standards that, are set elsewhere for grade A milk, for example, right? We want to do that. That is the next activity that we are starting. Currently, we don't measure it. But we definitely have plans of getting there and also measuring that parameter.
Yes, basically, when you're saying that you do HPLCs for antibiotics and antibiotic residues, basically we have somatic cell counters these times.
Yes.
We can easily get that, and that's a very easy test to perform, and that is very informative, and that is very much needed also, where we can grade the milk whether it's infective or non-infective, whether the animal is suffering from subclinical mastitis or mastitis, where we can this educate the farmers, or where the treatment is needed, or where other interventions are needed. Like that, we can that will be a good this preventive measure.
Sure, ma'am. We'll definitely implement it, and
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohi, Dr. Mohi.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Dr. Shupujan is there.
Yes. Hello?
You want to have some query from the speaker, please? Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome, distinguished Dr. Kishore. I would like to ask a question from Patna. I am a veterinarian, Dr. Shupujan Kumar. In India, biggest problem of procurement of milk, and that milk should be free from antibiotic. What is done by you in your farm?
Yes, sir. So all antibiotic milk gets rejected, sir. Right? Whether it's 200 liters or 1,000 liters, it gets rejected. The reason I say that with confidence is basically, if you come and look at it, we have a book where every antibiotic strip that we put in milk, right, is stuck to a book. It says this village, this is the strip. This farmer, this is the strip. All of the strips that we test every day, right? We spend quite a bit of our money or our budget on testing for antibiotics because we feel MDR is a big problem. It's not highlighted enough. And farmer को ये बोलते हैं कि आप अगर 5 लीटर या 6 लीटर के पास आप एक गाय को दिए या एक भैंस को दिए, आप बोल के करो, वो मिल्क आपको पेनलाइज करेंगे. We will pay you every rupee for it. The reason we are charging our customers more money is because to deal with all these losses, right? We understand. So that is separation is our first primary thing. Second thing is testing, sir. Testing से ही पता करते हैं. हम लोग 40 लीटर कैन में पकड़ते हैं, 100 लीटर में पकड़ते हैं, 300 लीटर्स में पकड़ते हैं, and rejection of the milk. एक 100% कस्टमर को गारंटी के साथ कभी भी बोल सकते हैं our milk does not have antibiotics. हम लोग डाइल्यूशन से एंटीबायोटिक्स को रिड्यूस नहीं करते हैं सर. Every 40 liter कैन में हम लोग टेस्ट करते हैं. That is how we guarantee that our milk is free from antibiotics.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kishore. Your effort is quite appreciable. Go on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I have a small question, please.
Please.
Hello, I'm audible to you, sir?
Yes, Parvez, go ahead, please.
Sir, myself, Dr. Parvez Ahmed Rishi, I am working at Mountain Livestock Research Institute. We are having, as my worthy chief head and chief scientist and head, Professor Mujib Fazli sir has already explained. We are having a small milk processing unit as well. And one entrepreneur has last time approached us with the request that he want to have a specialized milk for babies, wherein he will segregate like you have segregated it. You have done it innovatively, but there is a rider in our state from the government that you cannot rate retail price more than 40 rupees a liter. That's a rider from the government. My question is, how do you manage that?
Sir, fortunately, we don't have any riders, sir. And I feel, because a farmer should be able to produce, a farmer or, because, unless, we feel this should be allowed, right? Because the only way we could survive is actually giving that value, right? See, there are a lot of large dairies, they're doing great job, right? We are lucky today, we are grateful that there is Amul, right? That you can get milk anywhere in India, right? We are doing a specialized sector, right? Where there are customers who are willing to pay that little bit of extra money, right? उनके लिए अपने बच्चों के एक हमारे इसमें customer base ऐसा है कि वो लोग उनके लिए दूसरा ब्रांड ऑफ मिल्क जो सस्ता है वो ले लेते हैं, लेकिन बच्चे के लिए हमारा ब्रांड का एक पैकेट लेते हैं, because they want to do best for their kids, right? And that is why we take the utmost care to make sure that our milk is absolutely pure. We go to that lowest level of testing to make sure, continuously invest and make sure that we are there, right? With that our milk can beat any standards of the world, right? I would like to say this, in India mein jo milk produce hota is I would say it is still best in the world, right? Only thing is, how can we chill it fast? How can we make sure, like ma'am has said, SCC can't monitor, all the testing that you monitor it, reject out the milk that is not there, take that best milk, right, that the farmer has produced, a small farmer has produced or a medium farmer has produced, chill it in time and give it to the consumer. Uske liye thoda zyada paisa lene se koi dikkat nahi hai, right? We should not be extorting money, but as a farmer, right, every, if you look at all the other fields, right, it is very normal to get 10% raise in any other field, right? 7% raise, 5% raise every year, right? It is normally expected in any field, right? A software engineer expects kisko at least 5 to 10% every year hike milega salary mein. Why should not a farmer expect it, right? And we're not asking for that much, right? At least a 2% hike though, for doing good work, right? I would say there should not be, hopefully there should not be restrictions like that. And
yes, exactly, sir. That is my question, because in our state, we are strictly following a rate list issued by the government, and we cannot go even at our MLRI. We are providing wholesome milk. We are not making any sort of adulteration, but still we cannot increase it beyond 40 liters, 40 rupees a liter. So one entrepreneur.
No, Dr. Saab, we have increased it to 45 now. Now it is 45.
That is correct, sir. Still, we are having some questions from the government. You cannot increase it beyond some limit. And in our district Lar village, there is a private entrepreneur. He approached once me with the request that he want to have a certificate from SUKOS so that he can have 2 brands of milk, one purely for kids, where he can segregate milk, where he can test milk, where he can have certified milk, and he wanted it to be increased to 60 rupees, but he could not because government did not allow him to have it more than just you said, sir, 45 rupees or 50 rupees. So we are following it as a rate list issued by the government. But the sir who is this time a speaker and a great entrepreneur who is doing it very innovatively, they are not following this rider. So if we could have that problem lifted or that rider lifted, we could do it here as well. Thank you very much, sir. That was my small query. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone more who can have the interaction with our speaker? Any of the students? If not so, I just really acknowledge this, that our speaker will be having a next session at NDRI probably very soon now. He'll be looking for that. So I will not just take much of his time. Our Dr. Javed Farooq has raised a hand. Can you please unmute yourself and go ahead? Yes, Javed, if you have any query, please go ahead. You have unmuted yourself. Javed, go ahead with your query, please. I think we have lost the connection with Dr. Javed Farooq. Anyway, I think it's my obligation to just propose vote of thanks to our speaker, revered speaker, innovator. I can say he is an innovator in the dairy sector, the innovator. It's not, I think the best man for that will be our Shabir Hamdani. May I request Shabir Hamdani, please unmute yourself and go ahead with the vote of thanks to our speaker.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope I am audible.
Sure, you are audible there.
Sir, I, on behalf of whole organizing committee and from personal friend, I thank Dr. Kishore for his lecture, Come Journey, sharing with us. Rather, I believe that the journey he told was really inspiring, and we are lucky to hear this before some Bollywood director picks up for a short thriller. It was really amazing to see how he started and how he's going great. Sir, I know in spite of your busy schedule, you have spared your valuable time with us. I appreciate all this. And as our Professor Pampori rightly said that you are surely a role model for our future generation entrepreneurs. And we hope to see you in future programs as well. I thank all the participants for their interactive presence here. Again, from my behalf, I wish all the best to Dr. Kishore for his enterprise, and I hope to see you in future as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot for the invitation, sir. Anytime there are any questions, I'll share my email address, sir. Please share it with the team. Any questions are there, we can definitely, we can take up any questions later as well, sir.
Sir, can I ask one question?
Yes, Dr. Najmana, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, sir. I just want to ask if any one of us wants to just go into this kind of venture, what will be the starting investment at this point of time?
So, ma'am, that's a good question, right? I see a lot of entrepreneurs, people who want to get into dairy farming ask me this question. So, rather than starting from that investment question, I would say, are you closer to the market, right? See, how are you going to sell it is the first question you should answer, right? Kahan pe bechenge, kaise bechenge? First, that is a question, right? Today, it is milk produce karne ke baad kaise, how will you get the right remuneration for your milk, right? And are you able to sell at that price point of 45 rupees, right? First, you have to decide that, right? First, our energy as an entrepreneur should go there. Uske baad, and in dairy farming, our experience has been, invest as little as possible in the infrastructure first, right? Aap silpaulin sheets or tarpaulin sheets se bhi bana sakte hain. Cows will be really comfortable, right? First, do not invest a lot of money in building big sheds. Do not put money on, see, you can buy milking machines because they are needed, right? Put the money in the right place. I've seen a lot of people who invest their money in, crore rupiah in, infrastructure. And then by the time when you go to sell the milk, the money is just not there. So do not, give them comfortable housing, but do not, put all your money upfront, because you will need money for marketing. You will need, so place your money properly, right? Only if you think you're able to, you can figure out that how you can sell milk, right? Then, and you're getting good price for it, then go and invest in the infra, right? You can always take milk from a farmer. You can work with a farmer. You can take him as a partner, work with him and see if you can sell his milk, right? If that is working out for you, then I would advise you to invest in buying cows next or increasing cows next. Definitely dairy farming needs to be done. I'm not doing it, but first figure out whether you can market it, right? Or whether that money that you get, it is working out for you or not, right?
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes. Javed, you are now audible. Earlier, we requested you many times to just go ahead with your query.
Sir, yes. My question to our honorable member is that, sir, first of all, there is a pricing policy, 2-axis pricing policy, in which we calculate the price of the milk in terms of it is SNF and fats. Is there any policy that they are following? First, my question is this. Second, he has said that we are working on using Azola. Since I am concerned with this division of animal nutrition, I think so far use of Azola is in infancy, and in terms of economics, it is not cost-effective feed, which we can utilize so far, whatever the technology which have available so far, because it is moisture content is 90%, is very laborious. So in terms of cost effective, it is not very good. So can he guide us? Has there been any method he has worked on? It is cost effective benefit, and is it viable in given circumstances?
Okay, sir, I'll take that question. Give me one moment. I'll share my presentation again. If you, I hope you're able to see my screen, sir.
Yes, definitely.
So this particular Azola pond that we created, this is just created with a silpaulin sheet, right? This silpaulin sheet costs us about 1,200 rupees here, right? There is no civil structure. It's just one layer of brick, right? Loosely held, no civil structure. this costs us 1,500 rupees to do this. It's definitely laborious, right? But we believe that this works out very well for a small farmer, right? Who is doing the farming himself. It might not work for a large scale farmer who has, you know, maybe 100 or 200 cows, but this model, right? We are replicating it for our farmers, right? हम लोग जाके farmer के पास करते हैं, you know, and we do it for 2 farmers. If we have a network of 10 farmers, the farmers come and look at this and say, yeah, we can do this. Our cost of production, depending on where we do it, is anywhere from 2 to 5 rupees per kg for this, right? And in our area here, right, if you buy concentrated feed like oil cakes, it is costing us about 25 rupees. So we advise per animal anywhere from 500 rupees to 1 kg tak ye de sakte. And this yes, please. Is there a question, Javed? I can take. So this is how we've been propagating Ajolla to our farmers.
Dr. Javed, are you there? Say, okay, how do you feed this Azolla? Is it as such, or you make a feed out of it?
No, we gather this. So every time we do, we take half of it out. Okay. So when we take 50% of it out, then what happens is it comes up again. The pond gets filled again in 3 days, right? Because it's sunny here. I mean, typically we say that if you only take half of it out, rest pond again gets filled in 3 days. We get 16 kgs output out of this. We dry it, we clean it with water, basically because you use a little bit of cow dung as for minerals and other stuff for nutrition. You use some soil and some cow dung in this water. So you clean it up with water, just dry it and give it along with other concentrated feed.
Okay, okay, you dry it up, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely dried,
yes.
Sir. It's just so that there is not a lot of water.
So I think we have lost connection with the Javed there. So if we don't have any more questions there, it is time for Professor Fazli, sir. Professor Fazli, sir, if you are there, since this program is in collaboration with your organization, that's MLRI. Okay, I think you will be the best person there to conclude now this webinar today with proposing vote of thanks to everyone over here. So it's over to you, sir, Fazli, sir.
Thank you, Professor.
To conclude this meeting, it's over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. We have been having these webinars right from for last 1 year or more, but as per my opinion, this was the best managed webinar that I have had during last 1 year. So congratulations to all the organizers. So I must thank our revered speakers. Actually, 2 days earlier, I asked the organizers that, have you given topic to the speakers? They said no. I was thinking just the way we did it for World Veterinary Day, everybody spoke on the theme itself only within those words. But now we had 4 speakers, all from spoke on different aspects of the milk day or dairying, etc. So it was so amazing. So all the if anybody asks me to rate the 4 lectures or 4 presentations, I can give 100% to everyone, every speaker and every topic. So they have so nicely prepared their presentations and presented. It was charming to stay here right from 10 a.m. So I'm highly thankful on behalf of the whole organizing committee, on behalf of Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, COST Kashmir, on behalf of the Extension Outreach Center of Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, and MLRI. I'm really thankful to all the speakers who spared their time and who spoke so nicely and so perfectly that these are the people who have actually who are in the field with passion. There may be some lectures when we are hearing, they may be just internet downloads, etc. That does all the lectures were so nice and speakers so nice. We are highly thankful to them that they spared their time and they gave us insight on different aspects of the dairying as well as the dairy cows and the milk. I'm also, this session was also peculiar for me with another aspect that our participants, perhaps this is the first time during our series of webinars that we had during last 1.5 years or so, that our participants started increasing from the beginning to the end. Otherwise, we would see in the beginning there would be people, and then as time goes on, they will go on decreasing. And at the end also, I saw some 86 participants so keenly watching and hearing all the speakers. So on behalf of organizing committee, on behalf of Faculty of Veterinary Sciences and MLRI, I am thankful to all the participants who stayed there. And that's why we also, the organizers got encouraged, and hopefully our speakers also realised that this is a different gathering, that they are really interested in improving their way of working with respect to the livestock or the dairy sector. And I'm thankful to all the organizers, the Dean, Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, Professor and Head, Extension Division and Outreach Center, and the university, that they have arranged this program so nicely and on this specific day. I'm also thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who made in our way, a surprise visit yesterday to MLRI when we celebrated this World Milk Day there yesterday. We were having a small program, but that became a full day of this program, because when our Honorable Vice Chancellor, along with his team of directors, came, and they spent more than half a day there seeing our different units, and then interacting, then responding to all the, even all the employees. They were freely interacting with the Vice Chancellor, and he gave us so much hope that this sector has to improve within the university and then beyond the university. With these words, I also thank all those workers who have worked rather behind the scenes all for last 15 days or so to make this program very success. If I have forgotten name of any person, kindly I want to apologize for that. But I think with the speakers on board, with the system on what system we had of interacting today, right from the morning till now without interruptions, this vote of thanks is not perhaps of that quality that is deserved. But still, whatever capacity, whatever words I could gather in haste, so I put them across. Thank you one and all for this wonderful session and for your participation.
Thank you. Professor Fazli. Before we end this meeting, I think we have one student over here, Hasib. He's a lovely student of our faculty. He has in a chat, he want to put his words in a vote of thanks for Dr. Kishore Induri. I will request Hasib to unmute himself and go ahead with his vote of thanks for the speaker.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hasib, and I'm a student of our veterinary sciences, and I currently study in 3rd year in our college. So listening to a lecture, the most intriguing thing about your lecture was that everybody had discussed the prospects of this dairy industry with us, but you made me realize that, in addition of this dairy production and processing, the most important thing for a very successful and profitable dairy industry in our country and in the whole world right now is how you deal with your consumers and how you communicate with the farmers and the primary producers that you get your produce from. And that was very, very informative. And that is something that we can apply to increase these profitable gains if we ever decide to join such a kind of an industry. And it applies to all industries in general. So I really, really thank you from the core of my heart for such a wonderful presentation, sir.
Thank you, Hasib. Thank you.
Thank you, Hasib. Okay, I think Dr. Kishore, I have a lot of, full of this messages there in chat box. You can also see all is praising for your lecture and your efforts, particularly your efforts in this dairying and reaching to the consumers with a pure milk. Everybody is appreciating that. So I'm really thankful to you. You have spared this precious time with us. Thanks a lot once again, and looking forward for your cooperation with us in future too. Thank you, everybody. So I think this is time to end the meeting now. Thanks, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.